Chapter 108. When the officials saw the bailiff and heard his words, they were so moved that they almost cried. It was not easy. They finally got through it. When they looked at the food in front of them, they felt that this food should be in heaven, and not in the mortal world. When they took a bite, it was so delicious. Some of the officials were so moved by the spicy taste of the vegetables that they cried. They looked at the bailiff who was waiting for orders. It was as if they had seen their parents. The bailiff saw that everyone's expressions were a little strange, and their emotions were not so stable. He had no choice but to ask again. "My lords, what should we do tomorrow? Should we go on a boat or enjoy the scenery?" I just want to ask, can we go back? An official ate 2 boxes of vegetables in a row and choked while speaking. He hurriedly drank a mouthful of soup, and stood there with his neck straightened. After a while, he let out a long breath and looked at the bailiff, eagerly waiting for a reply. "What? Go back? This? Little brother, don't worry. When we go back, oh no, we will pay for the meal this time. 10 taels of silver per person, no 20 taels of silver. Little brother, you have worked hard, so naturally, you will not be left out." When another person heard the bailiff's question, he opened his mouth and said a lot of words. He was really afraid. If he stayed any longer, he might lose his life in the village. "That's not necessary. What I mean is that you really don't want to have fun here. Under the night sky, the crescent moon is in the sky, the water is clear, and the breeze is gentle. My lords, please take your time and think of more interesting things." The bailiff did not expect that his words would cause such a big reaction. All the officials put down their chopsticks and listened attentively. "Thank you, little brother, for your kindness. Let's wait for the others to come. We have to go back and see the disaster situation in the county. The people's affairs are more important." The official who spoke at the beginning continued. He was really scared. How could he think of interesting things? In this place, the first thing that came to mind was how he carried the water. Not to mention the water in the buckets. The wooden buckets were not light at all. He quickly found an excuse and said that he wanted to go back to the county to check on the situation. In fact, he wanted to hide as far away as possible and never come back to this place in his next life. The bailiff was still hesitating. The official who said that he would pay also took over and said, "This meal costs 30 taels of silver. When the time comes, all the brothers in the county will each pay 5 taels of silver. I will pay when I get back." With him taking the lead, the other officials also understood that the money was too little. One by one they followed suit. Some even wanted to write down a written agreement on the spot. As a result, County Magistrate Chung was alarmed. He came here with the 2 assistant ministers. When he heard that the officials were willing to spend more money to pay for the meal, he smiled and said, "Your Excellencies, I know that you are not only willing to pay for a few meals, but also to help Sanshui County survive the drought. This time, I thank you on behalf of the people of Sanshui County." With these words and the presence of the 2 assistant ministers, the officials did not dare to go back on their words. As long as County Magistrate Chung wrote a memorial, it would not be as simple as breaking the rules and coming out to play. One by one, they calculated how much money they would have to pay. They did not know, but they regretted it once they calculated, especially the one who spoke first. At this time, he was being stared at by the others. It was fine to pay 30 taels of silver for the meal. After all, it was already in their stomachs. But what about 5 taels of silver for each bailiff? How many bailiffs were there in Sanshui County? With the presence of the 2 superiors, these officials could only agree once more. Then, they began to eat the food on the table with all their might, hating that they could not eat all the money back. They also drank bowl after bowl of soup. County Magistrate Chung did not disturb them. He turned around and left to eat his own food. His food was better, especially the small root vegetable box. Other people's boxes might contain some garlic, but his was full of tender small root vegetables. Some villagers even specially marinated some good small root vegetables with salt. When eaten, it could be said to be fresh and delicious. While these people were eating, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also eating. They seemed to have thought of the same thing. They also made a small root vegetable box and cat ear soup. The only difference was that other people's small root vegetable box only had small root vegetables and eggs, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had shrimp meat in their soup. 3-inch-long prawns were used in some restaurants to cook whole prawns. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had the prawns chopped up and wrapped in a box. The small root cabbage also needed to be soaked in water for a while so that it wouldn't be as spicy. Picking out the tender small root cabbage wouldn't cause any irritation. Delicious, really delicious. The small root vegetables and cat ear soup taste so good together, especially the spicy taste of the small root vegetables in the mouth. When you drink a mouthful of the soup, the cat ears are actually really fluffy. When you eat it, there is an earthy taste in the mouth and a little numb in the tongue. I have never eaten it before. Wang Wan took a bite of the small box specially made for her and Zhang Xiaobao. After drinking a mouthful of soup, she squinted her long eyelashes and said happily, "Yes, I always ate it when I was young." There were rivers and mountains behind the orphanage. Grandpa took me there to dig for cat ears and pick small root vegetables. We could also meet the mountain red in the mountains. When we came back, we would cook it. Usually it was made into boxes. There were less white flour and more corn flour. Then we would drink cat ear soup. Every time I ate it, I felt the happiest time. At that time we were poor. Few people gave us money. When they came, they would only give us some fruit. My brothers and sisters had to wear clothes. We thought that only the poor would eat it. Later, when we grew up, we found that it was actually more expensive than normal food. Don't you think it's funny? When I finally went there, I heard that a kilogram of tender small root vegetables cost 14 yuan, and meat was only 9 yuan. At that time, if someone was willing to exchange, we were willing to exchange a kilogram of small root vegetables for a kilogram of meat. Have you seen my picture when I was young? Even a skinny monkey would grin when he saw it. Eat it. What you eat is not that kind. There are also shrimps in it. Eat them all. Don't waste them. Later on, when I was rich, I didn't care if the food was more expensive, but I never threw anything. Zhang Xiaobao took a bite of the box and whimpered. His face was full of nostalgia. Wang Wan didn't know if she should be envious or sad. She drank a mouthful of soup and said, "Then why don't you go to the river to catch fish and shrimps? The children here know how to do that." Who said that we didn't catch enough? We caught them and sold them for money. The things in the river were not valuable. The shrimps were only an inch long, and the fish were only 2 or 3 inches long. Grandpa Dean couldn't sell them for much. Later on, it was polluted by the starch factory. Even those things couldn't be obtained. Everyone went to the mountains to dig for dandelions, which are considered a kind of medicinal material. There were also various kinds of wormwood, all of which were edible. There was also a plant known as the windbreak plant which was sold well. It was especially useful for treating allergies, and it was faster than any medicine. As long as the water was boiled, the pimples on the body would disappear in less than a minute after rubbing them with the water. At that time, the older children did most of the work. I was still young, so I followed behind and helped to search for things. When I was 5 years old, a 9-year-old brother was bitten by a snake because he went to the mountains to dig for things. We called the snake turf. It wasn't very poisonous. It would definitely not destroy the blood molecules in a few minutes or even seconds. Grandpa Dean carried him out to get the serum. At that time, the serum was not expensive. The hospital was developing well. Not to mention 1 bite, even 10 bites would be enough. As long as he was sent to the hospital for the injection, he would be fine. Moreover, the treatment of the children in the orphanage was not that expensive. They could even give the treatment for free. But at that time, there was a medical official from the province. Grandpa was stopped outside. No matter what, he was not allowed to enter. The official was going to inspect the hospital for 3 days. Grandpa had no choice. He wanted to go to another city, but they would not care about the orphans here. In the end, he got some black powder and pasted it on the brother's leg. 2 days later, the leg was swollen to the size of his waist. When the official left, it was too late to go to the hospital. After a week he died. Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be talking about something that had nothing to do with him. He still had a happy expression on his face when he was eating. As he spoke, he picked out some prawn meat and put it on the plate in front of Wang Wan. Wang Wan did not eat at all. She was stunned for a while. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao and said, "So you didn't take revenge? I think you are the most important person in this aspect." "Comrade Wang Wan, you are wrong. Why would I take revenge? If someone made a mistake, there would naturally be the law to solve it. You can't knowingly break the law. That's unacceptable. I'm not a vengeful person. I'm a good person. It's God's doing." That official and the 26 related people were accidentally bitten by a snake. They were bitten by a snake called the taipan snake. Why do you think it is so unbelievable? That snake does not exist in Asia. It lives in desert areas, and usually does not take the initiative to attack people. Do you think it is a tourist? Otherwise, it could have been smuggled by someone. It is very possible. Didn't that person know that he only had a few minutes to react after being bitten by this snake? Those people died so miserably. Their blood was coagulated. This is really God's blessing. Good will be rewarded. Evil will be punished. Do more good things. Zhang Xiaobao looked like he was bemoaning the state of the universe and pitying the fate of mankind. He picked up a slightly older cat ear from Wang Wan's soup bowl. The July 12th tragedy. A hospital's director, deputy director, and a high-ranking official were all bitten to death by the taipan snake. Before they died, they knew that the snake was poisonous and called for help. When they died, they had a hopeless look on their faces. No clues could be found. So it was all done by you? Just because a child died in the orphanage. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and felt a little scared. It was not me. You don't have any evidence to prove that their idea was bad, really. Chapter 109. Wang Wan listened to Zhang Xiaobao's nonchalant explanation and didn't know what to say. She still remembered that because this case was too big, it was finally handed over to them. There were 26 people, 26 lives. They didn't even know who killed them when they died. Each and every one of them used their last moments to reveal their possible opponents. As a result, following the clues, they cleaned up quite a number of corrupt officials, but none of them admitted that they were the ones who released the snakes. Zhang Xiaobao, you're really something. Xiaobao, don't always pick up prawns for me. If I want to eat prawns, I can just eat them directly. Why eat the ones in the box? Tell me, how much money did you spend on this? As far as I know, the price of the snake isn't cheap. It had to be transported from so far away, and it wasn't just one. Many died on the way, right? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao still had that blank look in his eyes, she said, "Anyway, no one can hold you accountable now that you've admitted it. What are you afraid of?" "I'm afraid. What am I afraid of? Those people should be afraid. Even God can't stand their way of doing things." I'm guessing that the snake knew about this situation and crawled over by itself. It's not easy to climb over mountains just to bite people. The first step was to investigate and find out where these people often go. For example, that high-ranking official of high-ranking officials often goes to some underground entertainment venue. How much effort do you think the snake had to put in? That guy didn't forget to bring along guards when he was looking for the top courtesan. He had to hide, right? He also had to discuss the time with others of the same kind to take action together. It's not easy. Zhang Xiaobao frowned and pursed his lips. He used words to paint a picture for Wang Wan. Fine, Zhang Xiaobao, you're good. You're so stubborn. It's a pity that we don't have a lie detector. Otherwise, we'll definitely expose your past. Wang Wan didn't care how many things Zhang Xiaobao had done in the past. She just wanted to get the truth from Zhang Xiaobao's mouth. Unfortunately, this bad guy Zhang Xiaobao still wouldn't tell her the truth. His mouth was full of lies. Zhang Xiaobao smiled at Wang Wan and took another bite of the vegetable box. Yes, if you have a lie detector, you should let me use it. I'll let you know what it means to be mentally strong. Let me tell you something. A person killed someone. He was afraid of being caught and sent to the lie detector. So he looked at himself in the mirror and kept saying, "I didn't kill anyone. You didn't kill anyone. I didn't kill anyone." Guess what happened in the end? What's wrong? Wang Wan asked. In the end, when all the evidence pointed to him, he saw the corpse and the evidence. He stared blankly at the investigator standing in front of him and said, "Who is this dead person?" Did I kill him? I didn't kill anyone. Did you make a mistake? In the end, all the data on his body on the lie detector showed that he wasn't lying. In the end, the doctor determined that he was in an unconscious state when he killed the person. Zhang Xiaobao picked up a piece of beef and put it in his mouth. He chewed vigorously as he spoke to Wang Wan. After Wang Wan heard this, she was stunned and didn't know what to say. It was indeed as Zhang Xiaobao said. When a person hypnotized themselves, they wouldn't be able to get any information from their physiological reactions unless they knew their psychological weakness. These people weren't scary. As long as you wanted to find their psychological weakness, you would definitely be able to find it. After all, he used hypnosis. The truly scary ones were people like Zhang Xiaobao. He understood people's psychological activities and physical reactions. He could hypnotize himself at any time and make his body synchronize. Not to mention anything else, when she wanted to rest and enter deep sleep together with him. She had tried it before. The fastest she could do was 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but Zhang Xiaobao, who was lying next to her, only needed 26 seconds to complete it. He was hypnotizing himself. If he could use some tools, hypnotizing others seemed to be the same speed. Thinking of this, Wang Wan felt that since she already knew the truth, she didn't care if he admitted it personally. So she said, "Can you teach me this method of yours? I don't want to fall asleep so quickly." "It can't be taught. When I first learned it, I needed 5 minutes. Later on, I experienced so many things that I didn't care about honor and disgrace anymore. That's why I was able to shorten the time bit by bit. Every time I suffered a loss, every time I failed, and every time I was humiliated, I found that nothing could sway me. This is a kind of self-adjustment psychology. If you suffer a big loss when you're not 20 years old, then you can live to 30 years old. You have 10 years to adjust. If I suffer a loss when I'm 50 years old and can live to 100 years old, then I have 50 years to adjust. Why do you think that you will lose your life tomorrow when you suffer a loss today? At that time, you will find that honor and disgrace aren't so important. Existence is the only thing. Then go to sleep." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he picked up a box with his chopsticks and stared at it. This made Wang Wan also look at it. When Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, Wang Wan yawned, shook her head, and reached out to pinch Zhang Xiaobao. "Little guy, who do you think you are? You dare to hypnotize me? What are you thinking? Do you think I'm a free spirit? I'll let you scheme against me. I'll let you scheme against me. I'll strangle you to death. I miscalculated. I forgot the most important point of hypnosis. Don't use it on people who have strong beliefs in their hearts." Yes, you are a qualified warrior, Bawang Flower. Using this method in front of you is a kind of blasphemy, just like using a lie detector to deal with me. Zhang Xiaobao endured the pain of being pinched and pretended not to care. He directly put a box into his mouth and bit it hard. "Speak, why are you playing tricks on me?" Wang Wan said angrily. "It's just a practice. If I said that I wanted to take advantage of you, would you believe me?" Zhang Xiaobao replied truthfully. He really did think that way, and he didn't have any malicious intentions. "What are you thinking? Humph, I want to see if you can sleep at night. Be careful, the ground is too hard. You might break it if you fall." Wang Wan put on a straight face, and her hands were still moving in circles. However, Zhang Xiaobao could endure it, and he didn't move like a mountain. "You're scaring me. Separate, I want to separate. At night, I'll ask Pomegranate to tie me to the mat, the kind that is 1 inch thick. I have to bite it continuously." Zhang Xiaobao was really afraid of being tricked. This kind of threat was the most effective. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao and suddenly laughed. She pushed the soup in front of him. "Eat your food. Don't think that you're the most powerful person in the world. Some people can't be controlled by you. I'll let you feel frustration and failure again. It's good for your growth. You have to thank me." "Thank you." Zhang Xiaobao put his head into the soup bowl and said in a muffled voice. The night was quiet. When others were sleeping, the officials in the Qin family's village couldn't stand the long night. That night, they found County Magistrate Chung and asked to leave. After County Magistrate Chung failed to persuade them several times, he had to follow their request. He led them to hurry on with the journey at night. It was better than when they came, because there were torches to light. County Magistrate Chung still chose the way he came. No matter what, he couldn't let people know that there was another way to get out of here faster. Otherwise it would be troublesome. These people would hate him to death, even if he explained that he didn't know at that time. A group of people walked in the mountains with torches. At this time, there was no sound of the flute. Only the occasional chirping of some night owls came from the woods, which made people's hair stand on end. Even so, the group didn't stop. They were still moving. These officials were determined to leave this sad place as soon as possible. As for revenge, they also thought about it. However, they saw that there were only a few people in the village. If they were found out, they didn't dare to think about the consequences, especially when they had to avoid County Magistrate Chung. Officials, are you tired? Take a rest, and then we'll continue. County Magistrate Chung felt that these officials were a little different from ordinary people when they were hurrying. Each of them had a fierce expression, which made him a little worried. He was afraid that they would be tired. These officials heard County Magistrate Cheng's words, but none of them said a word. They were all holding their breath and wanted to leave as soon as possible. They were panting heavily, and their eyes were wide open as they hurried on with their journey. After walking for a while, County Magistrate Chung really had no choice but to stop them. These officials could walk forward with a strong momentum, but the two assistant ministers couldn't. The assistant ministers had a good rest these 2 days and didn't suffer so much. My lord, please slow down. The assistant ministers are still behind us. These officials, who were walking with a strong momentum, had to stop when they heard County Magistrate Cheng's words. They were also afraid that something would happen to the two assistant ministers behind them. If that happened, they wouldn't be able to escape just by suffering a little now. One by one, they stopped and waited for the two assistant ministers, behind them accompanied by yamen runners. When they were walking just now, they had forgotten that they were tired. Now that they stopped, they suddenly felt that there was no place that didn't feel uncomfortable. The fatigue that they had been feeling for the past few days finally broke out at this moment. When the night wind blew, people's minds were a little dazed when they were awake. County Magistrate Chung hurriedly asked people to get some dry wood to burn. He brought food and water to everyone and arranged them to the side of the fire so that they wouldn't catch a cold. Otherwise, they might fall sick directly here. In fact, County Magistrate Chung knew that even with this arrangement, many people who could make it to the foot of the mountain would fall sick. At that time, they would have to find a doctor to treat them. At most, they would just catch a cold. These people's bodies were not bad, and they wouldn't die when the time came. Just as County Magistrate Chung had guessed, when they reached the foot of the mountain and saw the carriages that came to welcome them, a few of them fell down immediately. They were carried to the carriages and called for a doctor to treat them. When they returned to the yamen, they would need to rest for some time. Chapter 110. In the middle of the night, County Magistrate Chung settled everyone down and finally let out a sigh of relief. Now he didn't have to worry about anyone causing trouble. When the two assistant ministers came this time, they said that they wanted to check something, but they were very honest. They didn't say much and didn't ask much. When they arranged for the officials to rest at night, the two assistant ministers told them not to worry and to take things slowly in the county. They already knew some things. There was indeed a drought, especially the assistant minister of the Ministry of Works. He even said that when they returned to the capital, he would submit a report and ask for more money. With the two assistant ministers' words, County Magistrate Chung took a hot bath and fell asleep under the massage of the servants. He had to maintain an energetic appearance every day, especially tomorrow morning. He heard from Zhou Qiong that Zhangjia Zhuangzi would send someone to give him 1,500 taels of silver. However, these taels of silver were not given for free. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for the county magistrate. As an official of the imperial court, he actually needed the charity of a Zhuangzi. If word got out, people would not trust him as an official. Therefore, the other side also said that they would use the money to buy a piece of land, the land beside the little Luoshui River. If it was another piece of land, County Magistrate Chung would think about whether Zhangjia Zhuangzi was deliberately taking advantage of this situation to take advantage of him. However, he couldn't say anything about that piece of land. The other party had already said that they wanted the North Bank. What did the North Bank have? As a county magistrate, he naturally knew that it was just a broken mountain. It took up a lot of land, but it couldn't grow anything. There were only a few trees. If that mountain was worth 1,500 taels of silver, wouldn't the other pieces of land be worth dozens of times more? He had to deal with this matter personally. First, he had to spread the news to the people that Zhangjia Zhuangzi was buying the mountain. He had to let the people know that there was a Zhuangzi who was willing to make a loss. Second, he had to wait for the Yamen to take out the money, to let the people know that the Yamen didn't take their money and didn't arbitrarily collect taxes from the people. The next morning, County Magistrate Chung woke up. Before he could ask, a servant said to him, "Master, only 2 of those officials can still get up. The others are all sick. Last night, we sent someone to check on them. They said that they are fine and will recover after a few days of rest. Master, do you want to go check on them? Are they really fine? All right, let them take care of them. As for the remaining 2, don't worry about them. Even if they are not sick, they won't be able to cause trouble for the time being. Of course, we have to check on them. Go and prepare some light food. Oh, also prepare some wood ears. These people are all ancestors. Every one of them has to take out a few hundred taels of silver. It's worth it to eat good food and drink." When County Magistrate Chung thought of what these people had said, he became happy. This was good. With Zhangjia Zhuangzi's support and 1,500 taels of silver, even if they bought some wood ears from Zhangjia Zhuangzi when they left, they would still be able to make a lot of money. The rest of the money would be used to suppress the price of food due to the drought, especially those merchants who had bad intentions. No matter what, they couldn't be allowed to raise the price of food. Otherwise, the people would go hungry. After freshening up and eating some breakfast, County Magistrate Chung asked people to carry light food to the places where the officials were. Those who were sick were told to rest well. Those who were not sick could only force themselves to get up. Their bodies were sore and painful. After being served and washed up, they didn't even have the strength to eat. When County Magistrate Chung came over with the food, the 2 of them were talking about this matter. They had suffered a lot. After exchanging a few words with County Magistrate Chung and waiting for him to leave, the 2 of them sat at the table. Whenever someone fed them, they would take a bite. The 2 of them were not carrying water. They were helping to clear the wasteland. They swung the pickaxe one after another. Now both of their arms were thicker than usual. They hung there, and the slightest movement would make them suck in a breath of cold air. If it were someone who exercised regularly, they would tell them that this was called exhilaration. After arranging these things, County Magistrate Chung began to wait for the people from Zhangjia Zhuangzi to come. At the same time, he asked people to keep writing notices to let the people in the county know about this matter. As for those who couldn't read, he wasn't worried. Naturally, there would be people who were willing to show that they could read. Before the people from Zhangjia Zhuangzi came, most of the people in the county knew about this matter. Some people said that Zhangjia Zhuangzi was stupid, while others said that Zhangjia Zhuangzi was benevolent. In any case, no one said that Zhangjia Zhuangzi could make money by buying that mountain. It was already good enough that he didn't lose money. At 9:15, Erniu, who was on Zhangjia Zhuangzi, finally arrived. He came by himself. He put 1,500 taels of silver behind him. Not only were they all silver, there were also copper coins and cloth. Altogether, they filled up 2 carriages. If it was only silver, a few boxes would be enough. Without the money, County Magistrate Chung naturally wouldn't lead Erniu to the place immediately. He first arranged for Erniu to rest. Even though Erniu was a servant, County Magistrate Chung still maintained the proper respect. "Erniu, this official remembers that you did a lot of things for Zhangjia Zhuangzi, right?" County Magistrate Chung arranged for Erniu to eat at the place where he was going to let him eat something. Since he came so early, he must have not eaten breakfast. At the same time, he also casually chatted with him. "In reply to your question, in fact, I didn't do much. I just listened to the master. Whatever the master asked me to do, I just did it. Your Excellency, you don't need to prepare the food. I have brought it. Look, it's all in the bag. Ernie was usually quite clever. When he saw the place where he was, he knew what the county magistrate had arranged. As he spoke, he put the bag on his back on the table and quickly opened it. There were some bamboo tubes inside. Oh, you even brought things here? Coming out from home. You must have spent a lot of time preparing these things, right? County Magistrate Chung pretended to be curious and asked. In fact, he was not happy in his heart. How long did it take to prepare these things? If he didn't prepare them, wouldn't he have come long ago? Of course. Ernie understood the hidden meaning in County Magistrate Cheng's words. He smiled and explained. Your Excellency, you are wrong this time. Hee, these things I brought were not prepared at home. They were prepared by the master. I got up early and rushed here with these things. I didn't stop to rest at all. As he spoke, he opened the things one by one. There was a big bamboo tube with tofu pudding in it. He loved to eat this. So this was what was prepared for him. There were several smaller bamboo tubes with chives and slices of sliced beef. The smallest bamboo tube had garlic sauce in it. There was a torn oil paper bag next to it. There were 3 big white steamed buns, a pair of bamboo chopsticks, and a copper spoon. These things were his breakfast and utensils. He poured the steaming braised food into the tofu pudding, stirred it with the spoon, and put in some chives. It was ready to eat. Your Excellency, I am indeed hungry. I will eat first. Ernie said to County Magistrate Chung apologetically, and began to eat. County Magistrate Chung was dumbfounded. There was sliced beef and garlic sauce. There were mushrooms, diced meat, wood ears, coriander, and plumeria in the braised food. Not to mention other things, this braised food could be exchanged for hundreds of bowls of tofu pudding. Looking at Ernie eating happily, County Magistrate Chung swallowed his saliva and asked, Why is the master so good to you? Do you usually eat this? No, the food I usually eat is not very good, but not by much. I am going out for business. Your Excellency said that it is easy to stay at home, but difficult to go out. A poor family needs to be blessed. How can the food outside be better than the food at home? So he brought it to me so that I can eat better outside. Ernie took a spoonful of tofu pudding, swallowed it, and replied to County Magistrate Chung with a simple and honest smile on his face. However, County Magistrate Chung did not smile at all. How could the master be so considerate to a servant? Ernie's words were not said by the master to a servant. It was clearly instructed by the parents when their children were going on a long trip. If anyone wanted to bribe such a servant, there was no need to consider. Not to mention Ernie. If he were in Ernie's position, he would also protect the master wholeheartedly. Is it delicious? County Magistrate Chung was lost in thought. When he asked about the fragrance of the braised food and the bean smell of the tofu pudding, he could not help but ask. It's delicious. You may not know, but the food made by our master is delicious. Look at the sliced beef. It is not cooked directly in the pot. That way the meat will be hard. Look at this, it is soft. When cooking, you have to add some other things, which are the things that are used in the dough. Yes, it is a secret recipe. Add that thing together and cook it. After cooking, it will become like this. The garlic sauce is also different. Other garlic sauces are made by crushing the garlic and adding the soy sauce. Here, you have to cut the garlic into foam and soak it in the soy sauce for a few days before taking it out. It is not so spicy and has a special taste. If you don't believe me, you can try it. As Ernie spoke, he saw that he had not eaten many slices of the sliced beef and pushed it in front of County Magistrate Chung. He also pushed the garlic sauce over. County Magistrate Chung looked at the food and struggled to decide whether to eat it or not. If he ate it, he was afraid that he would lose face. If he did not eat it, he would be tempted by Ernie's words. In the end, he persuaded himself that these were his master's food. As a disciple, it was not a big deal to eat some. With this thought, County Magistrate Chung finally put down his pride. He directly picked up a slice of beef and dipped it in the garlic sauce. He put it into his mouth and tasted it carefully. Good, it is indeed extraordinary. Master is indeed capable. Neo, have you thought about your master's decision to buy that mountain this time? Don't you think it will be a loss? If it doesn't work out, I will change the place. Change? No, sir, you can't change it. When we came here, our master said that he wanted that mountain. Don't tell me you are going back on your words? When Ernio heard this, he put down his chopsticks and replied firmly. He did not know why the little young master wanted that mountain. He only knew that since the little young master wanted it, it was a good deal. Chapter 111. The sun hung in the sky and shone on the ground, taking away the remaining cold of spring. The green grass swayed back and forth against the flowers. Xiao Hong drove the big goose, Fluffy, and led a group of ducks and geese into the water to play. Sometimes, they would find a few small fish that they brought into the pond and compete with each other to eat. Every time a flock of geese flew over her head, she would raise her head and call out twice. The oval-shaped leaves of the locust tree rustled with the wind. The strings of small green beans hanging down from the branches seemed to be about to stretch out and bloom into small white flowers. The children on Zhuangzi all came outside to cut the grass that they were going to feed the livestock. They eagerly looked at the locust tree flowers that were about to bloom, so that they could pick some to eat. The sweet locust tree flowers had a special taste, or they could go home and cook locust tree flowers for their masters to brew wine. The taste was a little worse than the elm tree flowers, but there were too many insects on the elm tree flowers, so the locust tree flowers couldn't be eaten too much. When they played together, the older children had to look after the younger children and find fun places to play. Under the lead of the older children, the younger children shouted and played, sprinkling the various places of Zhuangzi with laughter. After lunch, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan drank a little more bone soup. They lay side by side on the chairs in the small courtyard that belonged to the two of them, basking in the sun. The noon sun cast short shadows of the two chairs on the ground. Pomegranate sprayed water on the wood ears, leaving only the two of them to enjoy this leisurely time. The toads will come out soon, right? After lying down for a while with closed eyes, the blanket covering her navel slid down a little. Wang Wan pulled the blanket up and closed her eyes again. Yes, it seems that we need to block the bottom of the small river in front of the door and let water in. If the soil is too hard, the hibernating toads won't be able to climb out. This year, let the children not catch toads so early. It's best to let all the toads go into the pond and the paddy field. The pond is always left open to give the toads more places to hibernate. When summer comes, the toads can be the staple food every day. Zhang Xiaobao put his arms behind his head, raised his legs, and shook them as he made up his mind. You still have fish in the paddy field. When the time comes, the toad eggs and small tadpoles will be eaten. Wang Wan was a little worried. Yes, there will be fewer toads in the paddy field, and more in the pond. Those toads that can survive in the paddy field are either lucky or strong. After hibernation, the next generation will be stronger. That's the only thing we can do. Let's raise a few dogs this year. It's best if we have a litter of them, so that they can fight together. Wang Wan thought of the dogs again. When Zhang Xiaobao heard that she wanted to raise a dog, he shivered and disagreed. I don't like dogs. I have to take care of them. I have to put more energy into these things, and less energy in other aspects. Why don't you raise them yourself? There is a sandstone field next to the vegetable field. You can make a nest there. There are leftovers in the yard that can be fed. Don't even think about giving my dogs leftovers. There is salt and other seasonings. I want to choose the dogs myself. When they are young, I will feed them some milk and porridge. When they grow up, I will feed them grain, raw meat, and vegetables. I have so many chickens, I will feed them to the chicken rack. I will also train them myself. Wang Wan didn't care whether Zhang Xiaobao was willing to raise them with her or not. He was independent and couldn't be forced. It was fine as long as there was a place and food. Zhang Xiaobao opened his eyes and turned to look at Wang Wan. Are you going to raise a native dog like a police dog? Have you learned it? I have seen it and asked the breeder. I just need to copy it. It's just that I don't have enough experience. A dog that can't be raised well is a native dog. A dog that can't be raised well is a police dog. When the things in your family are settled, you can find me a good breed of dog. Can you get a Tibetan Mastiff? If there are a few, then they will do. Wang Wan imagined a group of powerful dogs following her and being obedient in the future. She laughed. Zhang Xiaobao's mouth moved. He didn't know how to organize his words. After waiting for a while, he saw that Wang Wan was still fantasizing. He said, "Is there anyone who uses a Tibetan Mastiff as a police dog? It was a group of Duboans who chased after me. But what did you do?" Wang Wan didn't fantasize this time, and turned to question him. "I got rid of them, but they still wanted to track me down. I used something stimulating, so that they couldn't smell anything. You don't think that I killed them, do you? I fought such a group with my bare hands. There were many people with guns behind them. Do you think I am stupid?" Zhang Xiaobao felt that Wang Wan, who cared about dogs, shouldn't think too highly of herself. Seeing that Wang Wan was relieved, he said, "Ask someone who has a dog that can breed with wolves. I will buy it for you. Tibetan Mastiffs are not suitable." "Who told you that Tibetan Mastiffs can't be police dogs? Are you ignorant? You need to find wolf dogs, but you also need to pay attention to Tibetan Mastiffs. Especially in winter, Tibetan Mastiffs can still be used here." Wang Wan curled her lips. "Well, they can even get carrots from Tubo. A few dogs are nothing. When you really find them, don't feed them with my beef. Pork. It just so happens that the piglets caught by the farmers have all grown up." Seeing that Wang Wan was so serious, Zhang Xiaobao had to compromise. "Don't eat pork. If you don't have beef, eat mutton. Cooperate with me during training. For example, when the dogs are tied up and it's feeding time, you can beat the dogs and don't let them eat. I will come over and drive you away, so that the dogs will trust me more." Wang Wan began to arrange things for Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao blinked a few times and said, "If the dogs trust you, then what about me?" In the Yamen of Sanshui County, Erniu had already finished his meal. Most of the beef had been digested by County Magistrate Chung. After resting for a while, County Magistrate Chung took a group of people with great fanfare. Together with the money, cloth, and other things from the Zhang family, they all headed towards the little Luoshui River. The people here had already received the news, and all of them ran over to see what was going on. Some even waited in front of the Yamen. As soon as they came out, they followed beside them. They wanted to see which idiot Zhangjia Zhuangzi was. They also wanted to count the money in the carriage, to see if there was really 1,500 taels of silver. By the time County Magistrate Chung and his entourage arrived, there were already quite a number of people surrounding them. In order to create a scene, County Magistrate Chung prepared to take down the cloth, copper coins, and silver from the carriage in front of the commoners. He let the people count them, and found that it was exactly 1,500 taels of silver. He then had people go to the other side of the river to measure. After a busy process, it took more than 2 hours. This was because there were many people to measure. The land on the other side of the river was 1,200 mu. He wrote the document, printed it, and waited for Erniu to take the document back. The owner of the house would write his name and put his fingerprint on it. This land would then belong to Zhangjia Zhuangzi, and he would not be able to take the money back. The people were all watching. If the money was used to buy fertile land, there would be people who would think that County Magistrate Chung was greedy. After all, the price was too cheap. However, to buy a barren mountain, everyone felt that there was something wrong with the people of Zhangjia Zhuangzi. Erniu did not care about the people's discussion. He took the document and immediately rushed back. He had the owner of the house put his fingerprint on it. Song Jinggong, who had been accompanying him, also started to move. He started to recruit people on the spot to start building the land on the other side of the river. "Zijin, are you preparing to plant things over there?" County Magistrate Chung was puzzled when he saw Song Jinggong move so quickly. "Sir, how can we plant things over there? This student is following Zhuangzi's instructions to build houses and docks over there. Zhuangzi took out 1,000 taels of silver for this student to use." "Sir, look, there is a lot of soil and rocks on the mountain. It will save us a lot of money to build the docks and houses. At this time, there is a drought, and the little Luoshui River has dried up. It will be more convenient for construction. We can find people to dig deeper and widen the river. The extra soil will be used on the river embankment. When the drought is over and the rainy season comes, the river will be wider and the water will be deeper. Some big boats will be able to sail in. The houses at the docks can be rented out as warehouses. The flat land at the foot of the mountain can be built into restaurants and other shops. We can also build the mountain road and build a few pavilions on the mountain. When the time comes, there will be transportation, and there will be another place to drink and have fun. Looking at the boats coming and going from the top to the bottom of the river will give us a special feeling. Also, when the time comes, Zhuangzi will continue to fork out money to dig a smaller artificial lake over there. We can build rockery and pavilions in it to attract the water from the little Luoshui River. Boats can be used to travel between the lake and the river. At that time, the people on the mountain can personally come down and paddle the boats. Sir, what do you think of this? Song Jinggong did not hide anything at this time. He told County Magistrate Zhuangzi's arrangements. County Magistrate Cheng listened. At first, there was a smile on his face. When he heard the last part, the smile disappeared and was replaced by shock and annoyance. He was stunned and did not move. Song Jinggong had finished speaking, but he did not say anything. Sir, there is one more thing that I need your help with. Song Jinggong saw that County Magistrate Cheng was stunned and had to raise his voice. Ah, something else? What else? Don't tell me you want to buy the land on this side of the river too? That won't do. This side of the river is a grain field. We need to grow crops. There is only half a mu of land between the river and here. We can't make a dock. County Magistrate Cheng had the same idea just now. Later, he found that if he wanted to do the same, he would have to occupy the land. Then, someone would accuse him of not doing agriculture, but only doing business. Destroying the land to open the trade route was a big sin. He thought that Song Jinggong would be so generous. Sir, don't worry. Zhuangzi will not do such a thing. It's just that I see that the small bridge between the two sides of the river has been in disrepair for a long time. I want to spend money to repair it. I want to build a wider and stronger bridge for the convenience of pedestrians, Song Jinggong explained. Repair the bridge? For the convenience of pedestrians? Don't tell me you want to transport the goods from the other side of the river here? It's really convenient to repair the bridge. County Magistrate Cheng immediately understood the key point. If the dock was placed on the other side, the goods would have to be transported over. Zhangjia Zhuangzi really did not want to suffer any losses. Sir, you are wise, Song Jinggong said with a smile. Chapter 112. Since he had bought the land, Song Jinggong did not waste any time. He immediately called for people to work on the other side of the river. They were all people who did not own farmland. The spring plowing was not over yet, and those who had land were busy. After Song Jinggong left, County Magistrate Cheng took the things back to the yamen with his men. As soon as he got back, he went to the study and looked outside through the gap of the open window. As he looked, because of the sunlight, his eyes were tired, and all he could see was the warm colors. Sir, there is another document from the next village. County Magistrate Cheng was in a daze for half an hour, when the Deputy District Magistrate came from the front with a piece of paper in his hand. Xuyang is here. Xuyang, why didn't we think of expanding the little Luoshui while it's still dry? We can use the mud and stones on the mountain to build houses. When the time comes, the water will flow to the boats. 1,500 taels of silver to buy such a big piece of land. How much do you think it will cost to rent the warehouse a day? How much do you think you can earn by running the restaurant? How much do you think you can earn by renting it to others? How much do you think it will cost to buy goods at the docks and resell them? How much do you charge for stopping the boats? How much do you pay the workers at the docks a day? County Magistrate Cheng did not take the document from the Deputy District Magistrate Zhang Mingsheng. Instead, he looked out of the window and asked. The Deputy District Magistrate also went with him today. He knew what the County Magistrate was thinking. If they built a docks there and operated according to Master Song's plan, they would be able to earn a lot of money. Because of the drought, the construction was faster and smoother, and they could save a lot of money. They could use the local materials and save a lot of money. They might not even be able to spend 1,000 taels of silver. Everything would be solved. He had thought about this before. When Zhangjia Zhuangzi wanted to buy the land, countless people were waiting to watch the show. He also thought that he was losing money and was grateful to him. Now that he owed him a favor, and the money was earned by him, He thought that Zhangjia Zhuangzi was making use of the drought to turn a poor place into a source of income. Sir, I also don't know how much Zhangjia Zhuangzi can earn. The more prosperous this place is, the more they can earn. There is a mountain of gold in front of us, but we can't see it. We can't take it back, right? The deputy district magistrate knew that the county magistrate was unhappy and was afraid that the county magistrate would tear up the land deed and the document. Take it back? How would he dare? Even if he gave it away to another place, he wouldn't be able to take it back. This was good too. After all, doing business required paying taxes. During the summer, some laborers had nothing to do, so they went to help out at the docks. This way they could earn more. When the ships came in, they could save on the transportation fees. This river was connected to the Jingshui River, and from the Jingshui River, they could enter the Weishui River. It extended in all directions and was convenient to go anywhere. If this money was earned by someone else, I would feel heartache. But to give it to Zhangjia Zhuangzi, that is because he is capable. After all, he has taken out 1,500 taels of silver. Do you think there are other places in Sanshui County that can earn a lot of money? It's just that no one noticed. Of course, County Magistrate Chung did not dare to go back on his words. Not to mention that he still wanted to be apprenticed to a master. Even if there were no masters among the ordinary Zhuangzi there, he did not dare to deal with them easily. In the yamen, from the cleaners to the yamen runners, Zhangjia Zhuangzi had given a lot of benefits. Everyone knew that once he made a decision, the people he sent out would definitely report to Zhangjia Zhuangzi first. The deputy district magistrate also knew this and agreed. You are right. There is a docks there. In the future, when you are promoted, the people here can still get benefits. As long as you don't go too far away, you can come back by boat. You can also see the distance and enjoy the music on the boat. If Zhangjia Zhuangzi produces any good things, he can also get a boat to bring them to you. At this time, we should focus on the drought. In summer or autumn, you can help Zhangjia Zhuangzi to deliver the grain. Then, it won't be too late to ask. Even if you don't need it, the new district magistrate who replaces you can use it. Didn't we decide to send people to see if they are willing to do a good job? Otherwise, the deputy district magistrate did not finish his words. County Magistrate Chung also understood that he had enough benefits and left some for the next district magistrate. He was prepared to promote the next district magistrate. If the higher-ups did not promote him and insisted on sending someone, it would depend on whether that person was willing to do things for Sanshui County and whether he was obedient. Otherwise, if an outsider wanted to establish himself in Sanshui County, it would be a dream. Once the words were said, both of them were relieved. County Magistrate Chung took the document and looked at it. It was a request for the district magistrate to get something to dig a well. This was simple, so he signed it and stamped it. Just as he sent someone to arrange this matter, Song Jinggong rushed over again. The matter over there was going to be a preliminary arrangement. He found 2 people to lead the digging. He still had other things to discuss with the county magistrate. This time he was here to deliver benefits. Zijin, you are here? How are things going over there? With the docks and the place over there, Sanshui County will have a better life in the future. Don't forget to thank the people on Zhuangzi on behalf of this district when you go back. County Magistrate Chung greeted him and asked someone to serve tea. Song Jinggong sat down and paused for a moment. He said, Sir, they have started working. I am here to ask for your help. Are you in trouble? Tell me. County Magistrate Chung really did not understand why Song Jinggong wanted to find him. Thank you, sir. It is indeed a little difficult. We don't have enough manpower. Do you know which places in this district are so dry that they don't need so much labor? I am willing to pay to hire people. If there are women in the family who can support the house, you can also find them to help cook some food. Song Jinggong chose 2 kinds of people. This way, according to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, was to repay the society. In the future, there would be other things to do like this. County Magistrate Chung looked at Song Jinggong. After a while he said, This is not a problem. It is obviously to solve my problems. The more problems like this, the better. I will find someone to verify it immediately. When the time comes, I will send people to work for you. With more income, they will feel better. Sir, you really love the people. When the mountain and some scenic places are finished, you can find something for the people in Sanshui County to do. Song Jinggong continued. What else? Do you want people to carry the poles up the mountain? That is fine. This was the only thing that County Magistrate Chung could think of. There were all kinds of places at the bottom of some mountains. There was no distinction between high and low. It was mainly for enjoyment. Song Jinggong shook his head. Sir, this is just a normal thing. What I want to say is to let some people in the county who know embroidery to embroider some things. When the time comes, some traveling scholars will write poems. These poems will be embroidered on a big handkerchief and be sold at the restaurant in Zhangjiazhuangzi. The people there will also be sold here. They will be sold here for 5 days first, and then be sold. In this way, the people who come here to play will have to go to Zhangjiazhuangzi to see their poems. First, they want to see how much their works are worth. Second, they want to hear other people's comments. Good idea. Let the people of one place go to play in 2 places and bring their friends. Both sides can make a lot of money. At the same time, people in the county who rely on this can also earn a lot of money. But if someone writes a poem that is not good, can we wait for him to buy it himself? Hearing Song Jinggong's idea, County Magistrate Chung was so excited that he trembled. This business was calculated well. The 2 sides were so far away, but they could cooperate with each other. Not only could it let Zhangjiazhuangzi earn a lot of money, but it could also help the people in the county to earn more money. If all the businessmen in the world could do this, how good would it be? Sir, you don't have to worry about the situation where no one wants to buy it. If no one wants to buy it, Zhuangzi will arrange for people to buy it. It is nothing more than paying the people in the county more money to make it. When the time comes, we will write down the names and addresses of the people who wrote the poems. During festivals, we will embroider it and send it over with a gift. Zhuangzi will specially find a place to put the things that are bought. Whether he comes to see it himself or becomes famous in the future, it will be a kind of income. Zhuangzi also said that the route from here to Zhuangzi will be fixed. The people who come to visit here will only take one road. Every once in a while, there will be a pavilion built for people to rest. Next to the pavilion, people who don't have a good life in the county can set up a stall. They can either sell tea or wine. It will also be more work. The pavilion will be built by the county. Seeing that the county magistrate was so happy, Song Jinggong directly told him his future plans. He believed that County Magistrate Chung would be able to use them in the future. If he left, he would have to see how the next county magistrate would be. If he did not treat Zhangjiazhuangzi well, he would definitely not give him this political achievement. County Magistrate Chung could not say anything else. He could only nod and agree. When Song Jinggong left, he personally went to the gate of the yamen and walked in. He stood there and watched Song Jinggong's figure become smaller and smaller. When he could not see him anymore, he turned around and went back. As soon as he came back, he hurriedly found the deputy county magistrate and asked him to think of a way to save some money. He did not want to use it all at once, so that he could use it for other purposes in the future. After thinking about it, he called the chief secretary, Zhao Xiang, and told him these things. The next county magistrate was going to promote the chief secretary. If he did not tell him, and waited until Song Jinggong came, County Magistrate Chung felt that he would misunderstand. When the chief secretary Zhao Xiang saw County Magistrate Chung, his face was stiff. After hearing County Magistrate Cheng's words, he was also moved. If he did these things when he became the county magistrate, it would only take a year for Sanshui County's finance to double. At that time he would also be promoted. It would be time for Sanshui County to elect a new county magistrate. The deputy county magistrate, Zhang Mingsheng, was also listening to them. He also thought that he would have a chance at that time. He was happy, but suddenly he became depressed and said, "At that time, Sanshui County will become a popular place. I guess many people will want to be the county magistrate here. What should I do? Xuyang, you can't just wait. Once Sanshui County becomes rich, It will not be as simple as just two auspicious signs like mine. At that time you can ask them. Maybe there will be a new way. County Magistrate Chung pointed in the direction of Zhangjia Zhuangzi. Chapter 113. As the sun set, the sky and water were dyed red, and the wild geese were singing in the afterglow. The wild geese were singing in harmony with the wind. The geese were calling home geese, and the kind mothers were calling their children softly. The evening was shrouded in smoke. After summer, there was still a month of work to be done in the field. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. At night, some people who couldn't sleep would go outside to look at the night sky and the stars. Of course, the farmers who were tired from a day's work would not waste their time like this. Only some of the farmers had the leisure to do so. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan ate steamed buns stuffed with chives for dinner. After drinking some spinach soup, they were full. They lay on the couch and soon fell asleep. When they were woken up by Pomegranate about 4 hours later, they found that there were still people outside who couldn't sleep and were wandering around. Xiaobao, everyone's energy is too exuberant. Find something for them to do. Now that they can't sleep at night, when the weather is at its hottest, won't they have to stay awake for the entire night? It will delay their work the next day. Wang Wan sat in front of the desk and was ready to study. She saw the light at the back window changing. It should be because the torches in the yard were blocked by people and then left. No entertainment will work. If you ask them to play mahjong, they will probably play all night. This means that there is less work during the day. The main thing is that there are more people in the yard. If we divide the work, there won't be much work left. Since they can't sleep, let's study. Zhang Xiaobao spread the paper and opened the book. He thought of the knowledge he learned from his father and began to review. He admired the energy of these servants. While grinding the ink, he said to Wang Wan, "You can find some things to do during the day. Let's go up the mountain to pick wild vegetables. If there is fern, let's see if we can find monk's head. It's a 4-color flower. Its scientific name is platycodon. Pick more and pickle it with salt when we come back. Seal the jar and dry it. We can eat it in winter when there is no food." Okay, let's do that. It seems that we need to find more work for them in the future. If they are tired, they can sleep at night. Wang Wan thought it was a good idea. Those who were still wandering outside didn't know that the young master and young lady had found something fun for them. Early the next morning, most of the people in the two main families' courtyards took their food and drinks for the day and walked up the mountain. The task had been arranged. As long as it was something edible, they had to pick it back. In groups of 2 or 3, they had to be careful of snakes and insects. When the children who were originally playing in Zhuangzi saw that so many people had been mobilized, they thought that something big had happened and went forward to ask. When they learned that it was to pick mountain vegetables, they gathered together and discussed it. They also went up the mountain to pick. They didn't dare to go too far, so they looked for it nearby. They ate and played while picking, so they didn't feel tired. When night fell, the children first delivered the things to the main family. Although they were small, their speed of picking mountain vegetables was not slower than the adults. A group of children actually got 2 big sacks of mountain vegetables and put them outside the main family's courtyard, waiting for the people inside to come out and pick them up. The people in the courtyard should go out to work, so there was no need to give extra pay. The children had been busy the whole day, so of course they couldn't take it for free. The housekeeper took out some salted duck eggs and gave each child 2. The children were satisfied with something, and 2 salted duck eggs were not a small amount. If they ate sparingly, they could eat for 5 or 6 days. They put the duck eggs in their pockets and left happily. The people in the courtyard came back later. They didn't know how far they had walked, but they were all listless. The dozens of sacks weighed more than 3,000 caddies. If they were to use salt to pickle them, they would need to use a lot of salt, which was naturally impossible. They had to pick some good ones and use salt water to brine them. The others were taken to a cool place to dry and hung in a ventilated place. They could be stored for a long time. Those people hurriedly ate dinner and were about to go to bed. At this time, they were instructed to learn to read. The 3 special class maids in the courtyard were responsible for teaching them. After learning for 2 hours, these people finally couldn't stand it anymore. They went back to their rooms one by one and fell asleep. This night, no one was energetic enough to sleep. How is it? This method is good, right? We have gained a lot of things and solved other people's insomnia problem. When they were learning in the evening, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan, "Good. But what about the mountain vegetables in 2 days? What do you want them to do? They can't go to the mountain to chop wood, right? You have to arrange something for them that they can do for a long time. Except for some festivals, and during the farming season, they can help. Usually they don't seem to do much work." Wang Wan found that since she found more people to work in the courtyard, there was less work to do. She and Zhang Xiaobao helped to plan most of the work. Efficiency increased, and there was a surplus of manpower. She wasn't stupid enough to let the people in the courtyard live a life of 9 to 5 in the morning, and a life of nightlife. Zhang Xiaobao also didn't want to see so many people idle. It was easy to form a kind of lazy mentality. If they were idle, they could do something by themselves. It showed that they had a yearning for life. But if they were idle and didn't know what to do, it would be troublesome. They must have a goal, even if it was passive and blindly follow the goal. When he heard Wang Wan ask him to think of a long-term method, he thought for a while and shook his head. No, we can't imprison them with a long-term job. We must let them feel the freshness of the work at all times. Pomegranate, xiaohong, and cherries are exceptions. They have already regarded that job as an honor. They love it from the bottom of their hearts. If we change them, they will think that we are denying them. Let these people pick mountain vegetables for 2 days. When the time comes, they will pick lotus flowers. County Magistrate Chung found so many lotus flowers and put them in the pond, right? Let them do that first. After 2 days, let them raise prawns and crabs. Don't let them be too familiar with it. After a few days, they will change to other things. The others will change with them. The disadvantage of this is that the animals we raise will not have a high output and will die easily. The advantage is that when they meet something they are not familiar with, if they want to satisfy the master, they have to learn. They learn from the people who did this before. Those people also have to learn from them. I know. In the process of teaching others, there will be a kind of spiritual reward. It strengthens the communication between them. At the same time, it will force them to treat everything seriously. Otherwise, when others ask them, they will not be able to answer. If others say it out loud, it will be embarrassing. After hearing Zhang Xiaobao's words, Wang Wan also understood. They were using their money to train people. When a person developed the habit of working seriously, they would keep it in other jobs. In order to be able to teach others better, they could only learn hard, think seriously, and sum up some experience. The two of them wrote a few more lines. Wang Wan spoke again. In fact, we won't lose much money. The so-called loss refers to the difference between the expected output and the actual output. The transplanted lotus flowers don't cost money. There is a ready-made pond. We can get the prawn and crab seedlings from those who sell prawns and crabs. I think it's okay. In addition to these things, some of the vegetables in the backyard should be able to be grafted. The same goes for the fruit trees. There will always be new things waiting for them. Continue writing. We will go to sleep after a while. Unknowingly, the Dragon Boat Festival was coming. The spring plowing had finished a few days ago. They took care of it a little and waited for the harvest. The first batch of wheat had been harvested. The second batch would be later. At the same time, the construction of the restaurant in Zhuangzi had been completed. The supply of MSG to the 3 restaurants in the county had always been the same. They were preparing to use it on their own businesses. Of course, these businesses were not under the name of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Zhang family and the Wang family had always been pure farmers. The ancestors of the Zhang family had made some contributions, so they could be considered as the descendants of good and loyal people. As for the business, it had nothing to do with the Zhang family. Outsiders were outsiders. They occupied the land of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Even the mountain in Little Luoshui was bought by the head of the Zhang family and sublet. What the sublet did was unknown. The project in Little Luoshui was not completed yet. The river had to be dug, The dikes had to be repaired, the houses had to be built according to the specifications, and the wharf had to be built. These projects were carried out at the same time, which solved the problem of idle labor in the county. The paths and pavilions on the mountain, as well as the artificial lake below, had to wait until other things were done. On the day of the Dragon Boat Festival, those who picked wormwood and other medicinal herbs also took advantage of this time to pick everything that could be picked. Zhang family and the Wang family also bought a lot of things in Zhuangzi this time. It was Zhang Xiaobao who paid for these things to be hoarded. After a while, when the medicinal herb shop was almost used up, they would be sold together. On the Dragon Boat Festival, Zhang family and the Wang family began to distribute zongzi to the villagers in Zhuangzi. The restaurant also opened on the same day. Strings of firecrackers rang out, as if they were free. County Magistrate Cheng brought some people from the Yamen to congratulate them. Zhou Qiong did not lie. He also invited people from the province to eat and drink here for free. Song Jinggong's reputation spread far and wide, so he attracted many literary friends to come here to support him. These people knew about it 2 days ago. Every one of them took advantage of the time and worked hard at home to write poems, waiting to show off when they arrived. Tuqiao village was such a remote place, but because of the opening of the restaurant, it became very lively. This made the villagers of the three Zhuangzi happy together. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could not participate, let alone stand at the door to welcome the guests. The adults in the family had all gone, leaving only the two of them to play in the courtyard. Xiaobao, do you think there are any zongzi that children can eat? Just like us. Wang Wan looked at other people steaming or boiling zongzi. She was a little hungry, but she was worried that it would not be easy to digest, so she asked Zhang Xiaobao out of boredom. There should be, right? I don't want sticky rice. I'll just use ordinary rice with some minced meat in it. Then I'll wrap it up and steam it in a pot. When the time comes, it will be ready to eat. Zhang Xiaobao analyzed. Don't say any more. How can that still be called a zongzi? If that Zhou Qiong comes to ask about it later, we have to answer him correctly. Wang Wan lay on the chair, closed her eyes and fell asleep. Chapter 114. Zhou Qiong, County Magistrate Cheng, and the others left in a hurry after lunch. Only Song Jinggong and the people he brought were still eating and drinking in the restaurant. It seemed that they were going to stay up all night. Those who couldn't hold their liquor had already fallen asleep after drinking too much, but they didn't leave. They were waiting for the night to wake up, so that they could continue fighting. Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect Zhou Qiong and County Magistrate Cheng to bring much income to the restaurant. Usually, they would stay in the province for a few days, so it was impossible for them to come here for a drink. It was the same for County Magistrate Cheng. Going back and forth would take up almost an entire day. It wasn't worth it just to have a meal. The purpose of asking them to come here was to wait for the construction at Little Luoshui to be completed. After that, they would connect with this place and let those who were envious of the benefits know that these two places were under the protection of the county magistrate and an army officer. When the time came, they would weigh their weight. Those who weren't qualified shouldn't come forward. Those who were qualified should be dealt with separately. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had been waiting for Zhou Qiong to come over and ask him questions. In the end, he left after eating and seemed to have forgotten that there was an expert here. This made the two of them feel much more relaxed. The Dragon Boat Festival passed by in a lively manner. This year, other than Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Zhuangzi giving out zongzi to the villagers, the Ji's Zhuangzi also learned from them and gave out some. This year, the Ji's didn't have to hand in grain to the imperial court, but the villagers had to hand in grain to the main family, so there would be a lot left over. Moreover, the restaurant had opened, and the three families were operating together. They couldn't continue to be stingy. After the zongzi were given out, the villagers of the Gu family puffed out their chests. When they met the villagers of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang again, they had something to say. County Magistrate Cheng, who came to support them, hurried back to the Yamen and rested for a while. Seeing that it was already late, he called Deputy County Magistrate Zhang Mingxing over and prepared a few dishes and a small jar of wine. Under the cover of the night, they began to discuss matters. Xuyang, how many days has it been? There hasn't been a single drop of rain. Let's not talk about the reduction in grain production. There are so many people and livestock that are running out of water. If we don't think of a solution soon, people will die of thirst. County Magistrate Chung poured a bowl of wine for the Deputy County Magistrate and sighed. The Deputy District Magistrate held the bowl with both hands and waited for the District Magistrate to finish pouring. He placed the bowl gently in front of him and said worriedly, 6 days ago, there was some rain at the east of the district. It stopped in less than 2 hours, and the ground was not wet. Now there are many places in the district where the ground is cracked, and we can't get much water from the wells. County Magistrate Chung was also aware of this situation. He reached out his chopsticks and was about to pick up some food when he stopped. He drank a big mouthful of wine and exhaled. There's less water in the well. What if we dig deeper? Is it possible to dig out water? Yes, but the well is not like when it was dug. If we want to go down directly, other than some big wells, the other wells will not work. If we want to dig deeper, we have to dig all of them. My lord, it would be great if the well could be like the auspicious well where water comes out with a bang. Now that well is still supplying water to many people. The Deputy County Magistrate drank a mouthful of wine with him and followed the County Magistrate's words. As he spoke, a glimmer of hope appeared on his originally troubled face. Both he and the County Magistrate knew how the auspicious sign appeared. The Zhang family's farmstead had used this to make an exchange with someone in the state. As a result, the well had been filled with water after a rumbling sound. Even now the water had not decreased. When County Magistrate Chung heard this, his eyes lit up. That's right, what can't Zhangjia Zhuangzi do? Why didn't he think of asking them for help? Since one well could produce water, there should be more wells. Xuyang, you have done a meritorious service. If this matter can be solved, the people of Sanshui County will thank you. Quickly, call Chen Dong and ask him to come to Zhangjia Zhuangzi immediately. Ask him to come here, even if he has to beg. It concerns the lives of so many people. If it really doesn't work, I will go there and kneel for a long time to get the water out. County Magistrate Chung had made up his mind. He didn't know how the people of Zhangjia Zhuangzi got the water out of the well. Perhaps they borrowed some magical power, which might also affect their lifespan. However, he had no other choice. He would ask when the time came. If it really reduced his lifespan by too much, he could only think of other ways. After all, it was not just one well. If his lifespan was reduced by a few days, he would build a longevity shrine in the county and tell the people in the county, who worked so hard to get water for them at this time. He would also need to send a document to the higher-ups. He had to get the water out first and then send a document. Chen Dong happened to be on duty tonight. He came as soon as he heard the call. After the county magistrate finished speaking, he promised, "Sir, don't worry. I will rush there as fast as I can and let them know about this. I believe that Zhangjia Zhuangzi won't just stand by and do nothing. Go quickly. If they fall asleep and can't be woken up, just wait. When dawn comes, the restaurant over there will open. You can go there and wait. Maybe you can eat some dishes and drink some wine." County Magistrate Chung told Chen Dong not to delay things, and then let him leave. "Come Xuyang, let's drink together. I really didn't want to eat just now. There is food here. Some people may not even have water to drink." County Magistrate Chung, who was temporarily relieved, regained his spirit and asked his deputy to eat and drink. Chen Dong also knew that this was a serious matter. He took 2 horses from the yamen and didn't stop at all. He changed horses all the way and arrived at Zhangjia Zhuangzi in 3 hours. Seeing that the restaurant was still brightly lit, Chen Dong licked his lips. He really wanted to go in and drink a bowl of wine. At the same time, he also knew that they wouldn't take his money. Even if he gave it to them, they wouldn't accept it. But there was something more important. He endured the thirst in his mouth and came to the courtyard of the Zhang family. He knocked on the door twice. The night watchman opened the small door and saw that the yamen runner had arrived. The county magistrate had just left at noon. Could it be that he got lost on his way back, and the yamen runner couldn't wait for him, and came to ask? This was not something he could handle. He ran to the back and woke up the housekeeper. Steward Zhang had just fallen asleep. Others could sleep earlier, but he couldn't. He was in charge of many things. He got up reluctantly and walked to the living room. The Yamen runner Chen Dong was already waiting there. The tea was served and he drank 2 bowls of it. Then he told the purpose of his visit and waited for Steward Zhang's reply. At least he had to ask the expert. Steward Zhang estimated the time and said to Chen Dong, "Wait here for a moment. I'll go and ask. Whether it's successful or not, I'll come back and tell you." After that, Steward Zhang left the living room and walked to the courtyard of the little child. He knew that the little child and his wife just happened to wake up at this time to study. Otherwise, he would have to ask the Yamen runner to come back tomorrow morning. When Steward Zhang arrived, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were eating. Children grew up quickly and became hungry quickly. They took time to eat something. After Steward Zhang repeated the matter, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other and reached an agreement. They said to Steward Zhang, "You go and tell the Yamen runner to draw a map of the wells that need water and send it here. Don't worry about anything else. Also, tell him that there may not be so much water coming out of every well. Also, this kind of thing will shorten one's life. This is the only time." Steward Zhang took the order and left. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at each other again and sighed at the same time. This time, they had to do a lot of things. It had to be said that it was life-threatening. Otherwise, if the higher-ups asked them to blow up the other 2 big places and their surroundings one by one, they couldn't stand it. "Xiaobao, how about artificial rain? Recently, there are always clouds floating above, but it doesn't rain. I'll try to make some clay bombs. What do you think?" Wang Wan suggested. "Okay, when the time comes you can blow me up. I'll have a bucket of water in each hand and pour it wherever I want. Even if you can make clay bombs, and the launching tools are simple, I can't make dry ice." Zhang Xiaobao said, and reached out to touch Wang Wan's forehead to see if she had a fever. "Don't touch me, I'm just saying. People need to have some hope, and work hard with that hope. I believe that you will be able to create dry ice in your lifetime, or even liquid nitrogen." Wang Wan slapped his hand away. "Dry ice? Do you believe that if you push me too hard, I will become a dry corpse tomorrow? Eat quickly, it will be cold soon. This is fungus soup, it's expensive." Zhang Xiaobao knew that Wang Wan was just saying it casually to ease the atmosphere. Anyone would know that artificial rain was impossible at this time. After drinking the soup and eating something, Wang Wan said, "How should we arrange it? We can't let others find out this secret. We can only blow it up when others are not paying attention. Then it will be nighttime. We have to arrange a few people. Erniu is one, and his brother Daniu is another. Who else can be absolutely reliable? Huzi is also fine. I don't know about others. Just the 3 of them. We have to spend a lot of money to buy materials. And we can't ask for reimbursement from County Magistrate Chung. This matter is settled. Read the book." Zhang Xiaobao didn't have a good candidate at the moment, so he could only trouble the 3 of them. Steward Zhang told Chen Dong what the young master said. Chen Dong was happy when he heard it. He got up and wanted to go back to tell the good news to the county magistrate, but he was stopped by Steward Zhang. He said that if he went back, the county magistrate would be asleep. It would be better to wait until dawn, when the county magistrate would wake up. During this time, he didn't need to live in the yard. He found a night patrol and asked him to take Chen Dong to the restaurant to eat something and have a good rest. Horses also needed to eat and rest. When Chen Dong arrived at the restaurant, he was given 2 dishes, 1 meat and 1 vegetable, as well as 4 side dishes. There was also a small pot of wine and a bowl of rice. Because this was a joint venture between 3 families, they had to keep a separate tab and count it as a special reception fee. Chen Dong was not in the mood to enjoy. He hurriedly finished his meal and went to sleep. The next day, he woke up without being woken up. He didn't even eat breakfast and directly rode back. When he arrived at the Yamen, he didn't care whether the county magistrate was awake or not. He ran inside and shouted, "Sir, it's done. It's done." Chapter 115. Boom! After the first thunderous boom, several more thunderous booms rang out in Linha village of Sanshui County. At this time, it was 4 o'clock in the morning. The people in the village were awakened from their sleep, but they thought it was going to rain or thunder. They couldn't bear the sleepiness and went back to sleep. Only some old people who didn't sleep well wanted to see what the rain looked like. They put on their clothes, opened the door, and stood inside the door to look outside. The sky was still dark, and the stars were still twinkling. Apart from the coolness of the night, there was no trace of moisture. Many dogs were barking, but nothing else had changed. Why is there thunder? Why is God striking down these thunderbolts? Sigh. An old man who had already opened the door and was looking outside mumbled a few words and turned to walk back into the house. Old man, is it raining outside? My ears are getting old, and I can't hear anything. An old lady's voice came from the house. No, go to sleep. I wonder what evil thing that wastrel did. God is going to strike him with lightning. As the old man spoke, he moved back to the straw mattress and squatted down with difficulty. He took off the clothes draped over his body and casually rolled them up twice before placing them where the pillow should be. He then pulled over half of the blanket and fell asleep with his back facing the old lady. In the darkness, the old lady blinked her eyes and helped the old man tuck in the blanket around his neck. She lay there with her head up and thought for a while. Then, she sighed and waited for the old man's snores to start. Then she also fell asleep. The next morning, the children in Linha village woke up first. They dragged their water barrels to the well to get water. Every day, the water in the wells would be the highest in the morning and the lowest in the evening. It wasn't like this in the past. Usually, the water in the well would rise as they fetched water. If they really wanted to get the water to the bottom, they would need a few adults to take turns to carry the water with willow rollers. It would take more than 2 hours for the water to reach the bottom. After a while, it would slowly rise again. They thought it was the same today. They dragged the heavy wooden buckets and rushed towards the well. Some families had 2 or 3 children. The older ones dragged the buckets, while the younger ones ran to stand at the mouth of the well. This was also considered a position for them. It was no exception now. A group of children were practically running out of the house. The older children had to look after the younger ones and make sure that they did not fall into the well. This was not like a winch. There was always a bucket hanging at the mouth of the well to block it. The well was an open well, so a rope had to be tied to it. There was a hole at the bottom, and there was a tarpaulin covering it. As long as the water fell into the well, the weight of the bucket would cause the water to wash away the tarpaulin. When the bucket was lifted up, the weight of the water would press the tarpaulin to the bottom of the bucket. Some water would leak out, but most of the water would be lifted up. This kind of well usually did not have any safety measures. Some used a wooden board, and some just left the mouth open. If someone fell in, even an adult could not save them, let alone a child. Once they were out of the house, the children would run towards whichever side of the well was closest to their house. When they were about the same distance, they would run towards whichever side had fewer children. A family had 3 children. The 2 older ones were girls, and the younger one was a boy. One of the girls ran towards the well, while the other girl had to look after her younger brother. When she and her younger brother reached the mouth of the well, they saw her younger sister standing there in a daze. Chow, what are you doing? Be careful not to fall into the well. As the older sister, she had to take good care of her younger brother and sister. She looked at the straw curtain at the mouth of the well, and worriedly asked her younger sister. Chow, came first, and the others had not arrived yet. She first looked into the well, and vaguely discovered that there was more water inside than a few days ago. It was much higher than a few days ago, and there was a white light in the darkness. She was very certain. When she heard her older sister's question, she quickly said, Older sister, there's more water. Quickly bring some up to see. As the older sister, she found that there was a different smell in the surroundings, and it was very unpleasant. Seeing that her younger sister was still standing there, she moved closer to look, and felt that the water was indeed much higher. It's true. Help me pull the rope. I'll put the willow in to see. As she spoke, The older sister used all her strength to throw the wooden bucket next to the well down. When there was a sound, she immediately pulled it up. Otherwise, when the water was full, she wouldn't be able to pull it up. When the small bucket of water was pulled up, the three siblings looked inside curiously. Oldest sister, second sister, this water is too muddy. After the younger brother looked, he said to his two older sisters, "Let's not worry about it for now. Let's occupy the place and wait for father to come and fetch the water." The older sister had also seen the water. It was a bit muddy, but it was better than nothing. At this time, the other children arrived one after another. There were two boys in the family who didn't need an adult to come and could directly go and fetch the water. They were bold. Even if they had to be spanked by their parents after getting the water, they were still willing to do more for the family. When they saw that there were already people standing in front of them, they urged them. If they wanted to get the water first, they would usually have to quarrel. Today, the three siblings in front of them were very easy to talk to and gave up their position. These two boys were a pair of twins. They were both 10 years old this year. Since others had stepped aside, they naturally wouldn't be polite. They carried the buckets to the mouth of the well. After estimating the distance, they placed the buckets to the side and threw the still wet willow into the well. They cocked their ears to listen to the movements inside. When they felt that it was about time and should be half filled with willow water, they pulled the rope together. When they reached the well, they directly put the back of the willow down on the edge of the well. The front of the well was facing their own bucket. When they tilted, the water inside flowed into the wooden bucket. The boys' thoughts were worse than the girls'. They didn't even consider whether the water was muddy or not. After pouring the willow water in, they continued to fetch water. After a few rounds, they finally filled up the wooden bucket they brought with them and dragged it back home. As they dragged on, their parents arrived. They happened to see their two children walking back after fetching water. They approached them in 2 steps. Without saying anything, they directly lifted one of them in front of them. They squatted down, straightened their knees, and pressed the child on top of them. They opened their palms and began to smack the child's buttocks. "What did I tell you? I asked you to occupy a spot, but you took your brother to fetch water. If you fell, how would your mother and I live? I'll beat you to death, you disobedient child." "Dad, I'm the younger brother. Today's water is higher than usual. I fetched more water first. Why are you hitting me?" The child who was hit wailed. It wasn't that he was in pain. Usually, when he fought with the other children in the village, it was more painful than this. The main reason was that he was afraid of being hit by his parents since he was young. The father raised his hand and took it back. He looked at the other son. He had no choice. After so many years, as long as the two children stood together and couldn't see the birthmark on their bodies, he couldn't tell who was the elder and who was the younger one. Especially when the two children usually played together, they were the same and always wore different clothes. The other child saw his father's gaze and took 2 steps back. "Dad, I'm the younger brother. Elder brother, don't hurt me. Elder brother, how can you lie through your teeth? Well, anyway, I've suffered a lot for you. I'll be the elder brother this time." The other child quickly said. The father patted his head with his hand. "Stop talking. You're the elder brother, and I'm the younger brother. Later, you're not allowed to change clothes. Go home and let your mother recognize which one is the elder brother. Prepare yourself." The father really had no choice. He often hit the wrong child, and when he went home, his wife would complain. The child who did something wrong would secretly laugh at the side, and the child who didn't do anything wrong could only cry and feel wronged. He was not as good as his wife. Whether it was listening to the voice or just a casual glance, no matter how the two children changed clothes, even if their faces were smeared with mud, he could still recognize them immediately. He had never missed. "Dad, don't worry. Elder brother and I will never change clothes. Elder brother, this is all your fault," the two children said to their father at the same time. It was not the first time they said this. It was instinctive. The father didn't really want to hit his two sons. He was just worried that the two boys would always go out to do things by themselves. If they were really in danger, He would never forget if one of them was missing. At the same time, he felt that his two sons were sensible and knew how to help the adults draw water. Looking down at the water in the bucket, he found that it was much more turbid than usual. Only then did he remember what his son said just now. The water in the well was higher than usual. Looking at the water again, his eyes suddenly widened. Of course, he knew when such a thing would happen. It was when the well had just been dug, and the water inside would gush out with mud. The water would rise, and it would be equally turbid. A few adults would take turns to draw water out until the bottom was seen, and all the mud that could enter the water was removed. Only then would clear water come out. Of course, other than this, when the earth moved, the water in the well would be very turbid. However, the chickens in the village wouldn't jump, and the dogs wouldn't bark. It was impossible for the earth to move. Could it be that someone had dug another well? At this time, some adults from other families came over and also discovered this situation. Some of them were quick-witted and thought of the thunder they heard in the morning. They excitedly said, "Auspicious sign. This is auspicious sign. I heard that water came out of a well that had been dry for many years in the county town, after a few thunderclaps. Our well also had thunder first, right?" After hearing what he said, the others also thought of it. All of them stopped fetching water and prepared to head to the county city to report it. Before they could leave the village, there were people saying the same thing in other places with wells. Then even a village has auspicious signs. Most of the water in the well had risen, and there were so many thunder sounds. Some smart people directly said that this was a miracle for the village. Chapter 116. After discovering that 7 of the 9 wells in the village were full of water, the people of Linha village were very happy. Now they didn't have to worry about running out of water. They could even transport the water to the fields to make up for it. The positions occupied by the children were also not important. The 7 wells were full of people. One by one, they took off their shirts, bare-chested, and began to take turns to draw water. The water they drew was directly transported to the fields. As for the remaining 2 wells, one was missing a piece due to years of disrepair, while the other had not changed much. This situation was immediately reported to the county. They wanted to make an auspicious sign or something, but they were persuaded by the sinister county magistrate to keep it a secret. "Sir, don't think about this. Take a rest." The county magistrate's face was also ugly, as he advised County Magistrate Chung. The registrar, county deputy, and the bailiffs who knew about this matter also had no smile on their faces. They knew that behind the happiness of the people, someone was using his life to support it. What auspicious sign was this? What water was this? It was clearly tears of blood. They all believed Qindong's words. The masters of Zhongjia Zhuangzi, for the sake of the people of Sanshui County, actually used his life as the price to activate the divine power. The county magistrate, county deputy, and registrar were the most conflicted in their hearts. They wanted to let the people in the county have water to drink, but they were also afraid that the 2 masters of Zhongjia Zhuangzi had an accident. They couldn't decide between the 2. The bailiffs couldn't care so much. They only hoped that the people of Zhongjia Zhuangzi were still alive and well. When they heard that the people of Linha County wanted to make an auspicious sign, they couldn't help but want to beat them a few times. "Well, Xuyang, there are other things today. Help me take a look. I will go to the back to check on some of the previous omissions." County Magistrate Chung was the happiest but also the saddest. He arranged for people to go to Zhongjia Zhuangzi. A village had water, but he had to worry about the masters of Zhongjia Zhuangzi. After the county deputy agreed, County Magistrate Chung returned to his courtyard without another word. He dismissed the servants and found incense and candles alone. He brought them to the study room and personally ground an ink stick. He wrote the names of the 2 of them on a piece of paper and placed it on the table in the study room. He lit the incense and candles and then knelt there. "This unfilial student greets the 2 of you. I wish the 2 of you a long life. I swear that if any of the 60,000 elders in Shanshui County dare to disrespect the 2 of you, even if it means risking my life, I will not let them off easily." After that, County Magistrate Chung kowtowed 3 more times before standing up. In the next few days, not only were the wells in Linha village filled with water, but many of the wells in other villages were filled with water as well. The wells that originally had more water, and the wells that didn't have water were filled with water. From time to time, someone would report this to the yamen as an auspicious sign. The more the yamen heard, the more upset they felt. "My lord, why don't we send someone to Zhangjia Zhuangzi and ask them to stop for a while and transport some water from other villages to those villages that are suffering from drought? Then when the people have water, what should we do? This is exchanging lives for lives." A pregnant yamen runner found County Magistrate Chung and knelt there, crying and begging. Of course, he got the news from Dong. His family had received a lot of benefits from Zhangjia Zhuangzi. His wife ate well and slept well. Zhangjia Zhuangzi even specially sent a woman to teach his wife some movements. He even taught her a few songs to sing, saying that it was good for the unborn child. If it were someone else, he would think that they were just messing with him. But Zhangjia Zhuangzi specially made it, so he didn't dare to have any doubts. How could he not remember this kind of care? At first, he thought that if one day Zhangjia Zhuangzi killed someone, he would pretend that he didn't see it. But now, he thought that if Zhangjia Zhuangzi wanted to kill someone, he would do it himself. When County Magistrate Chung heard the bailiff's words, he did not know what to do for a moment. Dong had come back and said that it was only this one time, which meant that the 2 masters of the Zhang family's farmstead would not die because of this one time. However, in the past 2 days, as the wells in some villages had more water and dried up, he felt the bailiff's anxiety. He originally wanted to have a long life, but Zhangjia Zhuangzi didn't agree. He didn't know the master's name, and he didn't know what the master looked like, so he could only give up. Looking at the yamen runner kneeling there, County Magistrate Chung suddenly had an idea. He said to him, "How about this? Tomorrow you bring some of the county's products that Zhangjia Zhuangzi doesn't have and give them to them. Also, help me ask if they want to stop. If they stop, I will issue a notice and ask the people to get water from other places. But if they say that they don't lack water, I will also issue a notice and ask the people not to go out at night and not to check if they hear any noise. What do you think?" Seeing the yamen runner like this, County Magistrate Chung didn't know what to say, especially the next county magistrate. If the next county magistrate wasn't promoted by Sanshui County, the officials sent by the higher-ups would have a hard time. The people sent by the higher-ups hated the local power the most, but they were also afraid of the local power the most. A capable official could handle the local power in a short time and make everyone listen to him. A weak official could only ask for a transfer or join in the evil. If the next county magistrate wasn't Registrar Zhao, would he have the ability to take in Zhangjia Zhuangzi? He would be tired to death. The yamen runner naturally didn't know that the county magistrate was thinking so much. When he heard the county magistrate's words, he left happily and prepared to go to Zhangjia Zhuangzi tonight to ask, "Wang Wan, do you think the moon is at its roundest today? Grandpa made mooncakes for me." Zhang Xiaobao was especially energetic tonight. He lay on the couch and couldn't sleep. He looked out of the half-open window and said softly. Wang Wan was already sleepy and wanted to sleep. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she opened her eyes and said, "Comrade Zhang Xiaobao, I beg you don't say any more. There are still many days until the 15th of August. I'll make mooncakes with you then, okay?" "Oh, thank you. Actually, it has nothing to do with the 15th of August. Today is my grandpa's birthday. Look at how round the moon is. Grandpa must be looking at me on the moon." Zhang Xiaobao continued. His voice was very soft, but it was enough for Wang Wan to hear. Wang Wan stared at the window and seemed to want to close it with her mind. She turned her head and saw Zhang Xiaobao was still staring at the window. She said, "There's no one on the moon, right?" "Well, don't look at me. There's someone on the moon, but it won't be your grandpa. There's Chang Yi Wu Gang, and a living thing at home, not a rabbit. Which one do you think your grandpa is? Could it be the Apollo of the lunar kicking plan?" "Comrade Wang Wan, let me ask you, why are there so many graves in places with water?" Zhang Xiaobao changed the topic. "Xiaobao, you are a good man. The country is sorry for you. Don't hate the country. After all, these departments are composed of people, not machines. You have learned so much psychology. Don't you understand? I'm here with you. Take it as compensation. Wang Wan knew that Zhang Xiaobao would fall into a special thought when he thought of his grandpa. At the same time, he had made arrangements for the other side. So she said these words gratefully. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. What qualifications do you have to represent the country? How do you know that I love the country? What I love is a national complex. What I love is a kind of heritage. The Chinese nation is not a certain republic. What I protect is a kind of spirit, not a specific thing. Some people said that the 4 ancient civilizations were ancient India, ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, and ancient China. Some people said ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient India, and ancient Egypt. Some people said ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Maya, and ancient India. Some people said ancient Lulan, ancient Egypt, ancient Maya, and ancient Rome. These were not important. What was important was whose civilization was still being passed down. India? Their history needed to be filled in by the history of other countries. Maya? They only had words left, but they had lost the people who could interpret them. Egypt? They had almost lost their own words. They did not know how they originated. Babylon? It was conquered by the pagans. Who still remembered it? Rome? There was no arena. It was long forgotten. Lulan? Time passed. Who chased after time? Only one place still existed. From the records of Yan Huang to the mountains of reeds. The country I recognize is this. I am not proud of the glory of my ancestors. I am sad because I can't inherit it. Who dares to talk about civilization with China? Who dares to talk about food with China? Xiaobao, the well exploded. Why did you remind them to use the fortune-telling compass to measure it? Just as Zhang Xiaobao was about to say something radical, Wang Wan suddenly interrupted and asked something unrelated to what Zhang Xiaobao was talking about. Zhang Xiaobao did not answer immediately. He stood there panting. After a while he smiled at Wang Wan. People say that a good wife can let a man have no worries. I didn't understand before, but now I finally understand. When you are in high spirits, she knows how to pour cold water on you. When you are in low spirits, she knows how to cheer you up. When you are in low spirits, she knows how to. Xiaobao, what is that compass used for? Is it a compass? Wang Wan interrupted Zhang Xiaobao again. Oh, you're talking about that thing? I really don't know much about fortune-telling. I didn't learn anything about fortune-telling back then. There really was a person in there. In the end, he misjudged a department head and was locked up. But I know one thing. That compass corresponds to the water patterns and magnetic fields. Usually, some fortune tellers would find a compass and put it in a messy place. He thought that it was God's will that he couldn't predict the future. In fact, that place is usually a place with more water patterns. If you don't believe me, you can take a look. As long as you use that thing, you can dig out a coffin in a messy place. The orphanage was like that. They wanted to dig a fixed cellar, but after digging for a while, they found a coffin. At first, they didn't care about it and moved it to another place. You know what a fixed cellar is? It is an underground house built with bricks and cement. It is used as a vegetable cellar. But in the end, they found that it was full of water. The vegetable cellar was 5 meters deep and 5 meters was water. In the end, they couldn't use it. Later, they wanted to make a well, which is a relatively old well. The one that uses leverage and air pressure. It is 3 meters away from the vegetable cellar. In the end, they drilled 12 meters, and there was no water at all. Zhang Xiaobao finally recovered from the state he shouldn't be in and started talking about the compass. I know about this. There are some well-preserved ancient corpses. In fact, it is because there is water at the place where they are buried. The coffin itself is sealed well, but the water pressure underground is too high. It presses the water into the coffin and squeezes out the air inside. When the air is gone, the surroundings are sealed again. The water level drops, and the water seeps out. The seal is sealed again, and the inside of the coffin becomes a vacuum. When people dig it up, there is no oxidizing effect. The person inside is preserved very well. Wang Wan added. At the same time, She knew why Zhang Xiaobao asked people to use a compass to predict the future when they blew up the well. It wasn't for fortune-telling, but for water patterns. Chapter 117. In Sanshui County, water was flowing out of many wells. Some wells even collapsed, but there was no change in a few wells. The drought was still going on, and had not been completely solved. It was just that they did not have to worry about the people dying of thirst due to the lack of water. County Magistrate Cheng originally wanted to make a longevity memorial for the two masters on Zhangjia Zhuangzi, but he was opposed by Zhuangzi, so he could only keep this matter in mind. There were some good things happening in the county. At the same time, some rich people heard that water was flowing out of many wells. They went to take a look and smelled a familiar smell. They thought it was firecrackers, so they went to buy hundreds of thousands of firecrackers. They found a dry well and threw them into it. In the end, there was only a short burst of sound, and then there was no other reaction. Looking at the smoke floating out of the well, they were sure that firecrackers could not be used to blow up the well. After smelling it again, they felt that it was not the same, so they could only give up. Originally, he wanted to find a way to help people get water out of the well to make money. The dock that Song Jinggong was in charge of was still in full swing. It seemed that it would be finished by late autumn. The weather was getting hotter and hotter. Shannon East Road, Hunan Road, Hudong Road, and Guanyi Road all had varying degrees of drought. Guanyi Road was slightly worse, but Shannon East Road and Hunan Road had the most severe drought. Hudong Road was also affected. Fortunately, there were several main rivers in Hudong Road and Guanyi Road, so they might be able to hold on until the arrival of the rainy season. If there was only drought, there was nothing to be afraid of in Hunan Road. Crop failure was inevitable. However, they were able to use the water from the Yellow River. Since spring, there were more locusts in these two places than in other places. At first, the people did not notice it. There were locusts jumping around every year, so this year was not a big deal. Who knew that with the drought, there would be more and more locusts? Some of the bigger ones even grew to 2 inches long. When they flapped their wings, they flew in front of people like little chicks. Seeing these locusts eating the crops, the people lit incense burners outside the fields and kept kowtowing. But no one said that they were going to chase them away, or let their poultry eat them. In the end, the locusts covered the sky and covered the earth. Not only did the people in the prefecture not care, they even reported this matter to their superiors, asking the emperor to issue a decree to build a temple of locusts here. Li Longji clearly knew the danger of these locusts, but he couldn't do anything about it. The other ministers also didn't stop it, except for Yao Chong. He jumped up and down, first promising the emperor that he would take responsibility, then followed the other ministers to threaten him. In the end, he obtained a non-support and non-opposition agreement. He personally went there to check the situation and get rid of those locusts. At this time, Zhangjia Zhuangzi and Sanshui County also followed suit. The 10,000 dan of grain was divided into 2 portions. One portion was given to Su Si to stop at the market and quietly transport to Hunan. The other portion was given to Erniu to find a cart to transport it to the county seat. The cart took several li to transport it to the county seat. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were prepared to personally go and take a look. It could be considered a trip for the childhood sweethearts. In the end, they were stopped by the people in their family. Usually when the two of them did something, the adults didn't care. This time, they wanted to go out, but no matter what, they didn't agree. They were afraid that the two of them would sneak away, so they arranged for 10 people to take turns to watch over them. When County Magistrate Cheng heard this news, he understood that it was time for him to take action. He arranged things in the county seat and took half of the bailiffs to prepare to go to those 2 places to provide disaster relief. In fact, it was to deliver grain. Cherries also hatched a lot of chicks and gave them to the farmers to raise. She took more than 6,000 chickens and Xiaohong's ducks and geese and also set off. Some of the idlers in the courtyard also followed to help feed the chickens and pick the eggs. This time, Cherries and Xiaohong only brought enough feed for the poultry to eat for 2 days. Along the way, They had to choose places with grass or places with a lot of grasshoppers. According to the young master's instructions, as long as the eggs were laid, they would exchange them with the local people. They could buy them with money or with cloth and silk. Even if it was a year's worth of grain, they would exchange them. Some children caught various insects to feed the poultry, but they also gave them eggs. Everything depends on Erniu. Whether or not our family can continue to enjoy this kind of treatment depends on Ernia's response. We have a lot of grasshoppers here. Some are hiding in the mountains. Let's fry them and eat them. Call Daniel back from the county seat, and let him try to make a cake. When the time comes, we can exchange the grasshoppers with the children on Zhuangzi. This thing is good. It's high in protein. Make some salt and pepper. After it's fried, we can eat it together. Don't eat the staple food. We can eat grasshoppers every day. I've decided to beat a 5-year-old child when I'm 3 years old. Zhang Xiaobao had been holding back his anger because his family didn't allow him and Wang Wan to go there personally. He waited for others to leave before he started to come up with ideas. Eat it every day. Then you eat it yourself. I won't accompany you. No matter how much protein grasshoppers have, how can they compare to rice and flour? I don't know how you're a liar. Wang Wan also wanted to go out and see what other places in this era were like. In the end, she was locked up at home. She was also depressed. Zhang Xiaobao had no other choice. If he really wanted to run out, it was very easy for him and Wang Wan. However, if he ran away, his family would definitely be worried. It wasn't easy for him to finally have family. He definitely wouldn't do that. Seeing that Wang Wan didn't want to accompany them to eat grasshoppers, he found a compromise. Then how about we use flour to wrap grasshoppers and fry them? What do you think? So you're competing with a grasshopper? Why don't we let them catch more and bake them into powder? We can make some pastries for the children in the village to eat to replenish their nutrition. When we grow up, they can become the most loyal guards. When we expand the territory, when we open up the wasteland, the strength of the seedling protection team will be stronger. Wang Wan heard about 4 deaths in the past few months. She felt a little distressed. There was a Zhuangzi in the Gu family. He was 6 years old, but he died of an illness. Life was really too fragile. At that time, the courtyard sent all the resident doctors and used a tale of ginseng, but it only delayed his life by a few days. In addition to the medical reasons, there was also the children's daily nutrition problems. Healthy children had a stronger resistance to diseases. Usually, it was enough to see some children play and exercise, but the intake of protein was less. People nowadays didn't eat grasshoppers unless they were hungry. If it was in the past, grasshoppers would be a good thing. Zhang Xiaobao also knew what Wang Wan was thinking. He thought for a while and said, "It's useless to just eat grasshoppers. When this matter is settled, we can build a school and find some students who failed to pass the exam to teach the children. At that time, 3 meals a day will be prepared. Naturally, the children will be healthier. As for the grasshopper powder, why don't we add our monosodium glutamate and send it to some pancake shops as seasoning? The taste will definitely be different from pancakes or other noodles. We can also add some fish powder. Forget about monosodium glutamate, we can just add something else. Providing raw materials is the least cost-effective. It's better to sell it in our own shop in Sanshui County. It's not a big deal. We can just arrange it casually. It seems that before they come back, the 2 of us will have some free time. Let's think about how to help your father pass the exam. Okay, starting tomorrow, we will find my father to go outside and enjoy the scenery. You have to cooperate. I'm not very familiar with poetry. You have been exposed to a lot of training when you were young, so I will rely on you in this aspect." Zhang Xiaobao wanted his father to take the county entrance examination. He could hint some political and economic ideas, but not poetry. "Okay, tomorrow morning, we will go out and learn something with your father. We will hint at him then." Wang Wan promised. County Magistrate Cheng Lingxiang set off that night when Erniu came with so many carriages. He had been paying attention to the disasters in those 2 places recently. He knew that if he went there now, he would definitely be recognized and his grade would be raised. With such a large group, It would take at least half a month to travel from Sanshui County to those two places. On the other side, Cherries and Xiaohong were also urging the group to move faster. The chickens, ducks, and geese were not very obedient, especially when they encountered water. The ducks and geese always wanted to go in and play. Fortunately, Xiaohong had a smart goose furry. It could understand whatever Xiaohong asked it to do. It was busy, leading nearly 10,000 birds to eat as they moved. The people from the inner courtyard who followed them were also busy. They had to watch the left, right, and back of the group. Otherwise, it would be easy to lose a few birds. This was all money. When they encountered the fields on both sides of the road, as long as there were grasshoppers, Xiaohong and Cherries would lead the birds to eat. With the meat, the birds naturally did not want the grains. They lowered their heads and ran around. As they ran, they could eat all kinds of insects that were chased over. Even if the locusts were flying a little lower, the chickens would jump up and eat them. Half a month later, County Magistrate Cheng's group arrived first. It could not be said that they had all arrived, as the carriages transporting grain were still behind. County Magistrate Cheng was preparing to contact the Prime Minister first, which was Prime Minister Yao Yu. He had already received the news that Prime Minister Yu had also come out of the capital and would be here soon. He was just in time to meet him. The only thing he was worried about was whether the grain would be transported in time. Xiaohong and Cherries were also a little anxious. They were moving slower. The people were fine, but the birds were not very obedient. They always ran to a distant place to take a look, and then continued to move forward with the group. They were already not slow, but they still had to walk for more than 10 days. They did not know if they would be able to see Prime Minister Yu by then. Xiaohong, you lead the group slowly. I have to hurry. Otherwise, when we reach the place and they leave, we will not be able to go back and explain to the young master. At least, we have to let that person with the surname Yao know that we have put in a lot of effort this time. As they walked, Cherries was anxious and discussed with Xiaohong. Today was the 3rd watch. Tomorrow was the 7th watch. Chapter 118. Okay, Cherries, you go. I'll take care of the poultry here. Cherries, if you really meet the right Prime Minister, aren't you afraid? Xiaohong also knew that she was too slow. She was clear about the situation in Zhuangzi. She was hoping that this time, she would be able to secure the position of Baihu. It was not only a matter of money, but also status. If the Zhang family said this, then they were people of high status. Therefore, she agreed to Cherries' suggestion. But she was also worried that Cherries would be scared when she went there. That was a high official, very high. Scared? What's so scary about that Yao guy? Is he more powerful than my family's young master and young lady? My family's young master and young lady are just a little younger. Otherwise, would that Yao guy dare to speak in front of my family's young master and young lady? Does he know how to hatch chickens? Does he know how to make fungus? Can he predict when there will be a drought? He's just occupying a good position. Cherries was more extroverted than Xiaohong. She disdainfully asked Xiaohong a few questions. Every time she asked, Xiaohong shook her head. After shaking her head a few times, Xiaohong added, "He won't plant cucumbers in the winter. With the young master behind us, there's nothing to be afraid of." "Yes, there's no need to be afraid of him. Then I'll go first. You have to hurry behind me. You can earn more money for Zhuangzi." After saying this, Cherries got on a carriage. Under the beckoning of the carriage handle, the carriage gradually disappeared from the sight of Xiaohong and the others. In Zhangjia Zhuangzi, it was already dusk. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan took the things they had written to see Father Zhang. Father Zhang was not good at managing the family, but he had some knowledge. In the beginning, his ancestors followed the army and won glory. After several generations, he was favored by the family to walk the path of an official. She looked at her sons and daughter-in-law's handwriting, commented on it, and explained to the two children what she had taught them yesterday. The day should be over, and there was no need to say too many words to encourage the two children. Every time this happened, Zhang Wang clan would listen to the side. She would listen to what she could understand, and watch what she didn't understand. Seeing the two children's serious appearance, and the happy and expectant expression on her husband's face. She knew that her son and daughter-in-law had learned a lot of knowledge. She was happy. "Father, I've been learning for the past few days. I haven't gone out to play with you. Why don't we go out and have a look today?" Zhang Xiaobao was worried about his father's poem during the county-level examination. He had learned what he had learned that day, so he suggested that they go out to play. Usually, Father Zhang was not willing to waste this time. However, these past few days, he had asked someone to watch over his son and daughter-in-law, so his two children did not have much fun. He felt a little guilty. After hesitating for a while, he saw that his wife kept winking at him, so he could only agree. The four of them brought some snacks and wine. Without calling any servants, they went to the side of the pond where the ducks and geese were kept. There were ducks and geese that returned home late playing in the water. They were all relatively small and were raised by the farmers. The children who were keeping the geese were nowhere to be seen. The four of them spread out the blankets they brought and sat around the pond. In the middle of the pond there were snacks and wine. Zhang Wang clan was naturally responsible for pouring wine for Father Zhang. Only the two of them drank some wine. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan each held a piece of beef tendon and ground their teeth. "Husband, the scenery here is so beautiful. Other places are still dry, but here there is no need to worry at all. Husband, compose a poem for this wife to listen to." Zhang Wang clan at this time changed from her usual tough attitude and gently said to Father Zhang, "And okay, then I'll compose a poem. Let's drink first and let your husband compose a poem." Father Zhang did not expect that his wife would ask him to compose a poem at this time. He was not prepared at all. He could only drink first and at the same time try to think of what sentence to use. "Xiaobao, look at those withered flowers. Can you still dye the leaves red?" Wang Wan began to perform at this time with Zhang Xiaobao. The two of them had long planned to help Father Zhang compose a poem during each season. Even if they set a few key points for Father Zhang to remember, it would be easier for him to write it during the exam. Zhang Xiaobao did not know much about poetry. Looking at Wang Wan's lips, he slowly said, "Why dye it red? It's already evening. Even if there are many sorrows in the heart, thinking of the flowers that have long left the branches. Even if you urge a horse to travel to the ends of the world, you still have to know that the flowers that have fallen are not so heartless. At least, it will help new peanuts to grow in the coming year." "Oh, so that is to say the falling flowers are not heartless. Waiting for them to turn into soil, they can still protect the flowers from blooming?" Wang Wan continued. In fact, the two of them wanted to say that the vast and mighty sorrow of parting is at the end of the day. The falling flowers are not heartless. Turning into spring soil, they protect the flowers. However, Father Zhang did not know this. While drinking wine, he looked at the two children sitting there. Suddenly, he heard the words of the two children, and an idea came to him. He said to the Zhang Wang clan, let me tell you." Yes, under the setting sun, there is no need to worry about urging a horse to look to the ends of the world. How can the falling flowers be heartless? Instead, they become spring soil and protect the flowers. Husband is indeed amazing. Before the cup of wine is finished, you have already written a poem. Husband, drink slowly. Let me peel a prawn for you to eat. When the Zhang Wang clan heard this, she was happy. Her husband was the most capable. While urging him to drink, she peeled a boiled prawn and brought it to her husband's mouth. Father Zhang's face turned red when he saw Wei Wei, but he did not know how to explain. He could only finish the cup of wine in one gulp and eat the prawn. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan each gnawed on a piece of beef jerky and grinded their teeth. The Zhang Wang clan watched as her husband drank the wine and ate the prawn. She said to the side, "Husband's ability is indeed extraordinary. Look, the lotus in the pond has already bloomed. Why don't you compose another poem for me? It will be easy for me to teach you." Okay. Husband will compose another poem with wife. Let's drink first. Father Zhang was a little scared. This kind of impromptu poem was not so easy. He prepared to drink to delay the time. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan quickly took out the beef jerky in their mouths and looked at each other. Wang Wan spoke first. "Xiaobao, this season is really good. It's already June. In June, I heard that the lotus will bloom. but hearing it and seeing it is different. Why do you think? Well, I think so. After all, it's already June. The scenery is different from other times. For example, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Look, the lotus leaves are so big. With so many of them together, it seems like the water and the sky are the same color. It's so green. With the sunset, I think it's redder than the lotus. What do you think? Zhang Xiaobao knew about this poem and directly hinted at it. Father Zhang was knowledgeable, but he lacked inspiration. Just now, he had been thinking of how to come up with a poem to satisfy his wife. After drinking 2 bowls of wine, he heard his son and daughter-in-law's conversation. Inspiration came to him again. Madam, listen to your husband. That, after all, in June, the scenery is different from the 4 seasons. The lotus leaves that reach the heavens are green, and the lotus flowers under the sun are red. No, the last line should be the lotus flowers under the sun are red. Husband is really different from those people. You can compose 2 poems at once. It's a pity that the sun is about to set. It's really regrettable. Husband, let me make some radishes and dip them in sauce for you to eat. Zhang Wang Clan praised again. At the same time, she dipped a very small radish in sauce and fed it to Father Zhang. Her eager expression showed that she still wanted Father Zhang to recite a poem. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan saw their mother's expression from the corner of their eyes. They looked at each other and communicated with their lips. I remember that Du Fu wrote a poem called Sigh of the Summer Night. Why don't we take it out? It's not easy to guide. Wang Wan spoke first. How long is it? Zhang Xiaobao also asked with his lips. 24 lines. It contains a lot of things. Wang Wan replied. Then forget it. I don't have the ability to guide. Something simpler. Zhang Xiaobao immediately rejected after hearing so many lines. Then what should we say? I got it. Little Lise. Wang Wan was a genius after all. She learned more things than Zhang Xiaobao. What? Eunuchs? Zhang Xiaobao tried hard to think. Which eunuch was good? There was one with the surname Sima, one with the surname Zhang, and one with the surname Tang. What eunuch? Don't belittle eunuchs. Li Shangyin, do you remember? Wang Wan reminded. Oh, so it's... What does he do? Zhang Xiaobao pretended to be enlightened. He squinted his eyes and asked again. The sea, the moon, and the pearl have tears. Oh, I have an impression of this. This feeling can become reminiscence. This is not suitable for my father to say to my mother, right? My mother misunderstands easily. Very easily. Zhang Xiaobao knew such a familiar sentence. What nonsense are you talking about? His whole life is reminiscence. Also, the sunset is infinitely good. Wang Wan glanced at Zhang Xiaobao with her big, cute eyes. Oh, you should have said so earlier. Is this also written by him? I know. Look at your husbands. Cuckoo that. Wang Wan trembled when she heard Zhang Xiaobao call her that. She looked at the water and calmed down. Well, when I come to the pond and look at the reflection of the sunset on the water, why do I feel a little sad? This sunset is very good. Unfortunately, it's dusk and we have to go back. Zhang Xiaobao continued. Wang Wan looked at the water and calmed down with difficulty. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao say that it was calm, her emotions fluctuated again. Father Zhang didn't know what his daughter-in-law was thinking. When he heard his son's words, he immediately thought of a poem. This time it was closer to the original. Wife and children in the pond, feeling unwell at night. The sunset is infinitely good, but it wants to be dusk. Ciao, or what do you think? Good, what husband says is good. Zhang Wang Clan was not stupid. Why did her husband say these 3 poems that were related to what her son and daughter-in-law were saying? She looked at the 2 little guys who were looking at the pond as if nothing had happened. It was even more suspicious. Chapter 119. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that something was amiss. If it was another family's child, she wouldn't have said anything. But how could she not know her own child? Her son was a little dependent on his mother. Every day, as long as he came together, he would always come to her side to take a look. If she was awake, he would greet her and kiss her. If she was not awake, according to the servant girls, Xiaobao would always help to tuck in the blanket or quilt, before turning around to leave. It was the same at night when she was sleeping. He would first come to check on her, then stay for a while when she was awake. When she was asleep, he would greet her before leaving. This was why she liked her son so much, even though she knew that he was different from other children, who would treat their mother so well when there was a monster in their family. But these two children were not bad to her husband either. They were very serious when they were learning. Her husband had said that this was not the first time. If such students were placed in front of any teacher, they would feel that their ancestors were emitting smoke from their graves. They understood as soon as they were asked, and answered as soon as they were asked. The only worry about teaching such students was that there would be nothing to teach them in the future. Who would believe that such children were indifferent when they heard their father recite poems? Thinking about what they had just said, a special thought appeared in the Jiang Wang clan's mind. Husband, after listening to your poem, you don't seem to like the setting sun very much. Why don't you go and see old madam and old master first? This concubine will play with the children here for a while before returning. The Jiang Wang clan ordered Father Zhang to leave. Father Zhang didn't think too much about it. When he heard his wife's words, he felt that it was the right thing to do. He drank another bowl of wine, got up, and walked towards the courtyard where his parents were. One reason was that he really wanted to see his parents, and the other was that he was afraid that his wife would ask him to recite more poems. This kind of thing was not something an ordinary person could do. After Father Zhang left, the Jiang Wang clan said to her son, Xiaobao, tell your mother, what do you mean by a fallen flower is not heartless? Ah, mother, what did you say? Zhang Xiaobao stared blankly at his mother. Her expression was as cute as it could be. Her chubby body, round face, big eyes, and fluttering eyelashes made anyone want to hug her and kiss her. Tell mother, tell me a poem, I want it now. Jiang Wang clan resisted the urge to kiss her son and asked with a sullen face. A poem? What else could it be? Vast and mighty sorrow of parting in the daytime. The whips point east to the horizon. The fallen flowers are not heartless. They turn into spring mud to protect the flowers. That's all, Zhang Xiaobao said helplessly. If it was someone else who asked him, he would definitely play dumb. But since his mother asked, he couldn't bear to do that. Anyway, he had a lot of things to do, so it didn't make much of a difference. As expected, the fallen flowers are not heartless. They turn into spring mud to protect the flowers. This is a real poem. What about the next one? Jiang Wang clan heard her son's words and sighed. Her son was the best in the family. If she told others, who would believe her? Also, her daughter-in-law was just like her son. She hid her talent well. You say it, it's your turn. Zhang Xiaobao nudged Wang Wan. Granny, the next one is actually about another place. Hangzhou's West Lake. There are more lotus flowers there. After all, the scenery of West Lake is different in June. The lotus leaves are green, and the lotus flowers are red under the sun. Xiao Bao and I heard other people talking about the scenery, so we made it up. Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao had compromised, so she had to say it too. But she was afraid that others would misunderstand, so she explained it again. Jiang Wang clan didn't want to ask about the third one. She already knew the capabilities of her two children, especially her daughter-in-law Wang Wan. The fact that the rich family didn't need to buy land had already explained everything. Ever since these two Zhuangzi had two children, they had changed. Their business dealings and all kinds of schemes made her feel scared. The difference from what others thought was that these two children were her own, especially Xiao Bao. If there was something delicious, he would think of her first. If there was something useful, he would also bring it to her first. It didn't matter if they were monsters or gods. As long as they were her children, it was fine. Xiao Bao cuckoo, don't say these things to others in the future. Jiang Wang clan was afraid of losing her children, so she tried to persuade them. Okay, I won't say it. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan replied at the same time. They weren't fools, so they knew what to show to others. That's good. Go back and sleep early. It's hot. So remember to ask Pomegranate to help you drive away mosquitoes. Jiang Wang clan kissed her two children's faces and felt relieved. She wasn't as worried as others. It was good that her children were good. Other people could become prime ministers at the age of 12, So what if her son became prime minister at the age of 8? That person with the surname Gan could be promoted at such a young age. So why couldn't her children be even younger? Isn't it too scary? Zhang Xiaobao asked Wang Wan when he came back. Who are you scaring? You've already done so don't think about it this time. The only good thing about the people here is that they're superstitious. It's fine if we're a little more powerful, but we can also increase the confidence of the people in the inner courtyard. You have to know that they don't care whether you're a monster or an immortal. They just want to know whether you can bring them more benefits, both material and spiritual. Wang Wan was very clear-minded. It wasn't like she hadn't met an 8-year-old child who had helped her solve quadratic equations in 3 variables. And it was the kind that did it verbally. Young people weren't just for show. They were really capable people. And there were quite a number of them with an IQ of 160. She couldn't just catch every one of them, right? She could only nurture them. Oh, I'm just asking. I don't want others to worry. Let's sleep first. We still have to study when we wake up. We can't be uneducated. Zhang Xiaobao mainly wanted to find someone to talk to, and Wang Wan happened to fit his requirements. All right, let's sleep. Wang Wan agreed, and the two of them lay on the couch again. 2 hours later, the two of them were once again woken up by Pomegranate, and went to the study table together. Zhang Xiaobao finished grinding the grindstone, and found that Wang Wan was still motionless. He nudged her and asked, "What are you doing? Didn't you sleep enough just now? Then continue sleeping. One more day won't make a difference." Who said I didn't sleep enough? I was thinking about how I can help you improve. I want the kind of fast speed. Looking at you, I know that you'll definitely choose to take the county scholar exam. That's not a simple matter. At least you have to know how to compose poems. You can't just rely on copying. People might not choose a place where you can copy. For example, if you were asked to write about a bug, how would you write it? You can write about anything, whether it's a flat land or a mountain peak. But would people think that it's a bug? That's a bee. It doesn't seem to be a perfect classification yet. What do you think you should do when the time comes? Wang Wan pulled Zhang Xiaobao's hand to the side and frowned as she spoke. Zhang Xiaobao also understood that if he wanted to learn these things quickly, it wouldn't be easy, especially when it came to poetry. This required a lot of accumulation. When he was young, he had never put in any effort in this area. When he grew up, he had been scamming people. Although he earned a lot of money, he didn't learn the basics. He couldn't say whether it was regret or fate. He wanted to take the county scholar exam, so he could only slowly work hard and accumulate some knowledge. Seeing that Wang Wan was thinking, he asked, "Then do you have any ideas? After all, you learned it yourself, unlike me. I learned all the practical things in prison. Who knows that the most practical things here are the least practical things back then? Don't worry, I'm thinking. I got it. Do you know the rhyme of a fisherman?" Wang Wan thought for a while and finally thought of something. "I don't know. Is it a fisherman in a lone boat, fishing alone in the cold river?" Don't tell me you want me to draw something. This won't do. I don't have any foundation, and am not interested in this area. I might not be able to learn it even if I studied it for a lifetime. Zhang Xiaobao denied. What drawing? You are talking about the river. I'm asking about the rhyme of a fisherman. It's the rhyme of a fisherman. It's the rhyme of a pair of couplets. It's the spring festival couplets with horizontal scrolls. The sky is against the earth, and the rain is against the wind. The land is against the sky. Have you heard of it? Wang Wan said to Zhang Xiaobao. Yes, I know. I heard a few lines when I was eavesdropping on other people's lectures. I remember this. At the end it's thunder and mist. The sun is against the sky. Am I right? Zhang Xiaobao immediately reacted. Yes, it seems like you were very serious when you were eavesdropping when you were young. Wang Wan praised. She had already heard Zhang Xiaobao talk about his childhood experience. Zhang Xiaobao understood this time, but felt that something was wrong. He thought for a while and said, "It's the Tang Dynasty now. What's the use of asking me to write couplets? I'm writing poems." You are so stupid. Are there no couplets in poems? For example, modern poems are strictly required to have a couplet, especially metrical poems. The couplet itself is like that. Do you understand? Wang Wan knew more about this than Zhang Xiaobao. After all, she was a master student. No matter what she studied, some things were written in textbooks. Moreover, her family was not ordinary. She had to learn all kinds of things since she was young. Perhaps she did not have the special talent of Zhang Xiaobao. But when it came to basic education, 10 Zhang Xiaobaos added together could not compare to her. Zhang Xiaobao also knew that Wang Wan's family was rich and powerful. She learned a little bit of everything. Seeing Wang Wan's serious expression, he knew that the person who accompanied him here would not harm him. He could only admit, I don't know. I will listen to whatever you say. At least in this aspect, can you tell me how to practice? Yes, it's good to know your own shortcomings. First, recite the couplet of the old man. I could recite from beginning to end at the age of 4. I even won first place in the city's competition. It was not because of my family's power, but because of my own ability. Wang Wan admired Zhang Xiaobao's attitude. He admitted what he did not know. Such people were the most terrifying. They would work hard to learn to regain their self-esteem. Zhang Xiaobao asked sincerely, do you still remember? Teach it to me. After I learn it, I will find a way to let my father know. Alright, learn from the beginning. Heaven versus earth, rain versus wind. Neo Nu is on the left and right of the Milky Way. Chapter 120. It was a hot summer day. After lunch, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were still lying on the chairs in the courtyard. Pomegranate even specially went to the pond to get a big lotus leaf for them to use as an umbrella to cover their heads. Knowing that the two little ancestors didn't need to be served too much, Pomegranate went to get her wood ears. She had already saved up a lot of wood ears, but Zhang Xiaobao didn't allow her to sell them. Pomegranate didn't know what the little young master was planning, so she just followed his instructions. It's so hot I can't sleep. Xiaobao, what do you think we should do at this time? Wang Wan was bored and played with her 2 hands. The main reason was that the weather was too hot, and doing outdoor exercise was not good for the body. Zhang Xiaobao was lying on the side and felt a little bored. It wasn't that he couldn't sleep. If he went into the house and put some ice next to the couch, he could sleep if he wanted to. However, he didn't do much exercise in the morning, so he couldn't just stay here. He had to think of something. Say something, you have a lot of ideas. Wang Wan waited for a while and didn't get a response from Zhang Xiaobao, so she urged him. Zhang Xiaobao was sitting there in deep thought. His little hand was holding his chin, and his eyes were staring straight at the entrance of the courtyard. I got it, let's go swimming. It's cool and can also exercise. You can choose one of the 6 ponds. Zhang Xiaobao finally came up with an idea. Wang Wan also felt that it was a good idea. She got down from the chair and began to look for people to accompany them, especially people who knew how to swim. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to go out. Pomegranate rushed over. When she heard that the 2 little ancestors wanted to swim in the pond, she was frightened and quickly went to discuss it with others. The Jiang Wang clan and the 2 ancestors of the family also came, saying that they could make a big wooden basin for the 2 children to play in. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't want to. They weren't children who didn't know anything. After some bargaining, they finally didn't want to make a wooden basin. The small river in front of the courtyard was specially divided. First, they let the people on Zhuangzi go there to see if there were water snakes. After a while, they used a shovel to dig and get rid of the creatures that could cause harm to the children. They also made a pile of fine sand and put it in. Then they boiled pots of hot water and mixed it with cold well water until it was warm. Only then did they put it in that part of the river. After working for a full 4 hours, they finally finished making an artificial swimming pool for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were shocked. When they saw that the people in the courtyard were busy, they felt that it was a waste of manpower. A kind of warmth lingered in their hearts, especially Zhang Xiaobao, who kept smiling. As he smiled, his eyes turned red. Xiaobao, let's go. We can go play now. Tomorrow will be better. Wang Wan pulled Zhang Xiaobao's hand and led him to the middle of the river. It would be nice to have a pair of sunglasses, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan. who was floating in the same position as him, while lying on the water. Wang Wan wasn't like Zhang Xiaobao, who didn't wear anything and just floated like that. Since she came here, she asked Cherries to make underwear and a large underwear for her. When she heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she also felt uncomfortable under the sun. She raised her hand and wiped the water on her face. Only then did she feel a little cooler. Then she said, "It would be best if the sky could be cloudy or cloudy. From today onwards, we can play in the water for the whole summer and autumn. Every part of our body can be trained, and our lung capacity can be increased." I think so too. It's a pity that the place is a little small. If it really doesn't work, we can build a swimming pool. You lie down, I'll go down for a while. As Zhang Xiaobao said, his body sank. He swam between the water and the ground, which was not comfortable at all. As long as he stood up, the water was just up to his neck. It was so shallow. Pomegranate followed Zhuangzi to the water. A person who was good at swimming watched from the side. At first, he thought that the two young masters just wanted to play in the water. Who knew that after the two little ancestors entered the water, they swam in all kinds of postures. The person who was good at swimming was confused. He had never heard that the two young masters could swim. Could it be that they practiced when they were bathing? Pomegranate didn't think so much. No matter what the two young masters did, she could accept it. Not to mention swimming. She felt that it was reasonable for them to fly in the sky later. At the same time, Pomegranate also felt relieved. She didn't need to worry about the two little ancestors. They were different from other children. Even if they fell, they would never cry. At night, they even knew to use wine soaked in medicine to rub themselves. Wang Wan lay down for a while, and also swam back and forth a few laps. When she was tired, she lay down on the water with Zhang Xiaobao and said, "Xiaobao, let's play with the couplet. You're bad at this. You say the first line. I'll match the second line." "Okay, my first line is swimming fish in the water." Zhang Xiaobao worked hard to learn. If there was an opportunity, he naturally wouldn't let it go. "Then I'll match the second line. Walking beasts stare at the shore of the pond." Wang Wan immediately matched. "My first line. Green leaves Weiwei reflects the sunshine." Zhang Xiaobao matched the first line. It was simple, he just had to randomly say one. "My second line. Green worm pupa and pupa together at night." Wang Wan found it difficult to match the second line, but she still managed to match it. "The toad in the field lies down. The child on the ridge chases. The cunning rabbit builds its nest in the forest. The clever fox hides under the tree." Say it, the first line. "Why aren't you saying anything?" Wang Wan was still waiting when she saw Zhang Xiaobao turn around and dive into the water with his face down. "Hurry up and say it." Wang Wan reached out and touched Zhang Xiaobao. "Say what?" "Pomegranate, bring some beef jerky for Cuckoo to eat." Zhang Xiaobao stuck his head out and shouted at Pomegranate, who was on the shore. Pomegranate turned around and left. Wang Wan didn't know why, but she touched Zhang Xiaobao again. "Why did you bring me food? I'm not hungry." Match the couplet. "You're not hungry? If you're not hungry, why do you always eat me? When I say fish, you get a beast to watch. When I say tree leaves, you say worm. When I say toad, you say child. When I say rabbit, you say fox. I'm eaten by you. What else do you want to match? That's not right." Zhang Xiaobao complained. "This was too much of a bully. How can you play with me like this? I won't eat you, okay? I'll protect you. Hurry up and match." Wang Wan didn't realize that she was talking about eating Zhang Xiaobao's food. She laughed and sank into the water. She swam up and held Zhang Xiaobao's stomach to persuade him. Zhang Xiaobao sighed. "It's useless to just talk about the first line. Go back and slowly practice it. Language is something that needs to be accumulated. It can't be learned overnight. Later on, let's go to the school that was just built 2 days ago and see how the two teachers are teaching. Don't delay the children in Zhuangzi. If it's not good, we can change. We don't need to go, right? Once the two of us arrive, the two teachers will be nervous. Even if they teach well, it's easy to make mistakes. Wait for the children to learn for a few more days. We can ask them what they are learning and test them to see how well the two teachers are teaching." Wang Wan said as she turned her body and rested her head on Zhang Xiaobao's stomach. Zhang Xiaobao put his hands behind his head and let his ears out of the water. He thought for a while and said, "That's fine. Then let's wait for a few more days. Let's give the two teachers some time to adapt. It seems that the children in Zhuangzi like to study. No one sneaks out to play. It's better than the children in Zhuangzi. It's not like what you said. I liked to study when I was young. I always learned faster than the other children. I even skipped grades. No matter how hard my classmates worked, I was always the first." Wang Wan retorted, "Yes, you are a genius. It's a pity that you didn't major in law. Look at how good you are studying physics. Maybe you can even become an academician in the Academy of Science. You can use it here," Zhang Xiaobao said as he yawned. The two of them chatted like this. The person who was good at swimming on the shore was stunned. He looked at the young master, who was being used as a pillow by the young lady, and could even talk with his arms under his head. His body was not heavy at all. If it was him, he could also do it deliberately. However, the young master looked so casual. It could only be said that the young master was not afraid of water at all. Instead, he was very familiar with it. He looked at the young lady cuckoo again. How did she practice? Could it be that she was like those babies who could float on the water during a flood and not sink? It was 1 in a million. At this time, Pomegranate also came back with something. Not only did she bring beef jerky, she also brought some fruit juice. She followed the young master and young lady's instructions to make 2 cups. There was a thin pole connected to the cups. According to the young master, it was called a goblet. The fruit juice was placed in the goblet. A thin bamboo tube was inserted into the goblet, and one could drink it with one's mouth. The only difference was that the young master and young lady complained that the goblet was not transparent. It was different from what they said. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had swum enough. It was not good to stay in the water for too long. They swam to the shore and lay on the chairs that were moved here. They picked up the fruit juice and drank 2 mouthfuls. Looking at the fields in the distance, they really had a special feeling. "Xiaobao, do you think that the fields of the ordinary farmers near our house had a bad harvest this year? If we go and buy them, will they sell them? I'm not saying that we will drive them away after buying their fields. What I mean is that we will connect those fields with our own and let them become farmers. We are different from other owners. We will not exploit that little bit of food. We can provide them with new ways to become rich. After the fields are taken, they can be unified and the output can be increased. They can also do some things in the winter. For example, they can find new technologies in the future and build greenhouses. That piece of land is not bad, especially a very low-lying place. The area is not small. We can make an artificial lake. When the time comes, we can work together with the restaurant. If they don't want to stay in the restaurant, they can set up tents by the lake. Prepare a charcoal fire for them, and let them barbecue by themselves. Gentlemen stay away from the kitchen because they can't bear to kill, not because they can't cook." Wang Wan had a piece of beef jerky in her mouth. Her eyes were looking at the place in the distance that did not belong to Zhang Xiaobao in Zhuangzi. She suggested to Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao's eyes were also looking in that direction. When he heard Wang Wan's words, he nodded and responded to Wang Wan. "Well, what you said is really good. It's a waste to give it to others. It's just right for us to give it to them. In a while, find someone to ask them if they are willing to sell the land. Tell them that we will buy it, and let them cultivate it. We won't ask for more rent." Chapter 121. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan both had an idea and sent someone to ask. At night, the person who went to ask came back, but his expression was not good. He said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "Little young master, little miss, I went to ask. It just so happened that they were not at home. There are only a few people who can't make decisions at home. I waited there, and when they came back, before I could tell them why I was there, they told me happily that they had sold the land today for a good price, and that they would not have to leave this place in the future. They would only have to pay 10% more rent than before." "Ah, who bought it? Just a bit earlier?" Hearing this, Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. If he didn't know that when he talked to Wang Wan, pomegranate, and another person in the inner courtyard couldn't say anything. He would have thought that there was a traitor. In reply to young master, I heard that they came from the capital. I heard from those people that a steward came with a few maids and male servants. The steward's surname is Li. I heard that this time, he bought more than 3,000 mu of land in the surrounding area. I didn't hear anything else. The person who sent the message replied to Zhang Xiaobao. Good, thank you for your hard work. Go back. If you want to sell it, then sell it. Zhang Xiaobao didn't have any other choice. The other party was one step ahead. So his and Wang Wan's plan was ruined. It seemed that he would have another neighbor in the future. He just didn't know how he compared to Zhuangzi of the Gu family. After the person left, Wang Wan pouted in disappointment. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, Li, this surname is not ordinary. Could he be a relative of the imperial family? That's troublesome. Who knows if they have any ideas about our land? Our family's 100 households are still there. What if they use this as an excuse to annex our land? Want to annex my land? Dream on. I'll fight it out with them. If they really want to use this as an excuse, then don't blame me for being ruthless. I'll show them what it means to be ruthless. I hope they have nothing to do with Li Longji. Otherwise I'll interfere. Zhang Xiaobao was also a little nervous. If he wanted to contend against power, he would have to take many detours. Otherwise, a single word from the other party could crush him to death. Wang Wan was worried that Zhang Xiaobao would make a risky move. She asked, What do you want to do? Could it be that he was going to use explosives to blow people up? That won't do. If we blow them up, our house will collapse too. I'm not going to do such a thing. If someone really wants to buy my land, I'll help them kill the poison. Lime is so cheap. If I buy it, I'll put it in the land and let them manage it. Flush it with water, then they would be able to rush out of the saline alkali soil and plow the soil. I'll plow in the lime first. If they can think of transporting soil from other places, then they are smart. But it must not rain. If not, the lime will dissolve in the water. It's not easy to manage a piece of land, but there are many ways to ruin it. Zhang Xiaobao was very angry. He could imagine how sad his grandparents and parents would be if someone bought his land. This was his bottom line. It was not easy for him to have family in this life, and they were still alive. He will not allow anyone to bully them. Wang Wan was listening at the side. She finally understood. International swindlers are not ordinary people. They can think of all kinds of bad ideas. If they really bury so much lime, this land will be barren. It's just like what he said. If they want to manage a piece of land, it's too easy to destroy a piece of land. I'm just saying it out of anger. What if they are not from the royal family? We can still wait and see. If they really are, we can just exchange benefits. If it doesn't work, the two of us can go and discuss it with them. If two children go and talk about it, they won't be so difficult, right? After Zhang Xiaobao said some harsh words, he calmed down. He felt that since they were pursuing benefits, then he should give them benefits. They can cooperate and earn money together. Zhou Shihu was like this. It was not a big deal to have one more. When the time comes, they can borrow each other's strength. Making enemies was not the goal, but the essence was to pursue benefits. The wise men united, borrowing strength to fight strength, using money to make money. Monopolies are not suitable for the era of power. Giving out something can be exchanged for something else. Wang Wan felt that Zhang Xiaobao's suggestion was not bad. If someone really came to snatch the land, they should give some skills. We can't give out fungus. This thing is too precious. Give out the method of growing cucumbers in winter. I'm talking about what if those people really have a background and want to take over our land. Yes, if the worst really comes, give them this method. Not only them, but also the other big families in the capital. At that time, we don't need to plant anymore. We can just wait to buy it and eat it. We can study other things. After all, Zhang Xiaobao was not a child. He had to endure. Sometimes it was not a bad thing to suffer losses. The two of them first prepared for the worst. The rest was simple. No one knew that when the other side just bought the land, there were two children who analyzed some possible situations and found a way to deal with them. After waiting for another day, Zhang Wang, Gusan, and Zhuangzi's main family also knew about this matter. They did not think as comprehensively as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. They only thought that this was a relatively normal thing. Zhang Xiaobao asked people to buy 100 taels of quicklime the next day. Everything depended on the Li family's reaction. If they were too greedy, Zhang Xiaobao would have to fight to the death. If they could be reconciled, the quicklime could be used for disinfection and construction. Although the lime was only slightly dissolved in water, it was still very lethal, especially to the soil. It could even harden the soil. The good thing was that it could be used in dry and humid places. When it was mature, it could even be used to treat some diseases. Only Wang Wan could understand Zhang Xiaobao's actions. But the family did not know. When everything was ready, Zhang Xiaobao was relieved. Wang Wan, however, was lost in thought. Wang Wan, what are you thinking about? Read the book. At night, Zhang Xiaobao had already turned the pages of the book. When he found that Wang Wan's eyes still did not change, he touched Wang Wan with his arm and asked, "Turn the page. I haven't read it yet. I'm helping you think of a way to make money. You bought so much quicklime. In case you don't need it, you can't throw it away. Moreover, it will absorb the water in the air for a long time and become the quicklime." Wang Wan did not read the book at all. The things bought with 100 taels of silver were piled up in several warehouses. She could not let these things go to waste. The quicklime was like an atomic bomb to her and Zhang Xiaobao. If they could use other ways to solve the problem, they absolutely could not take it out. But at the same time, quicklime could be used in other aspects. In addition to drying, disinfection, building houses, painting walls, and other applications, the most direct application was welding. She was also thinking about this. Hearing Zhang Xiaobao's voice, she said to Zhang Xiaobao, "Do you think we can make a brazier if we find a jar that is better sealed? Put quicklime and carbon together, and then find a way to turn them into calcium carbide. Then we can use it to make brazier. Then we can make better sealed things in the future. Is there a good sealed thing now? That thing is the one who made the welding." Zhang Xiaobao was not clear about these things. He had not systematically studied these things. The source of all his knowledge was from his own research, but he had never checked this information. When he heard Wang Wan say so many things, he was confused for a while. Then he asked, "How does calcium carbide come out? Does it use electricity? That is to say, we have to study electricity first." "Why do we have to use electricity? There are two methods. We can use high temperature to heat the carbon and lime. As long as they reach a certain temperature, it will be easy to reach a certain temperature. That is, add oxygen." Wang Wan was clear about this matter and explained it to Zhang Xiaobao again. "Add oxygen? Where does the oxygen come from? I know this too. Heat potassium permanganate. But where is potassium permanganate?" Zhang Xiaobao was still full of doubts. "In theory, yes. In fact, the most important thing is to reach a certain temperature. We can find a way to make the temperature reach this level. Other people can make steel. Besides the forging method, we can also increase the temperature. For example, we can use the method of blowing charcoal. If we don't try, how do we know if it will work?" Wang Wan once again guided Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao still did not understand. He knew about blowing charcoal, but what about the container? Where can we find a suitable container at such a high temperature? Then what are we going to use? It can't be melted by the heat, right? Stupid, of course we use ceramics. What about the pressure? Can ceramics withstand such a high pressure? I know you want to make a container, but I am afraid it will explode. Zhang Xiaobao was now able to follow Wang Wan's train of thought. The pressure is easy to solve. You just need to make the walls of the ceramics thicker. Some parts will break directly, some will explode, and some will remain. As long as there is a little bit left, then our plan can be carried out. If we can get one result out of 1,000 experiments, then it will be a success. Wang Wan also understood how difficult it was to do this, but she did not want to give up until she had tested it. Even if all the experiments failed, she could still gain some experience. "All right then. I'll send someone to get it done early tomorrow. It won't cost too much. If it's really done, I believe it will allow our village to develop even more. Keep it a secret. This kind of technology cannot be leaked no matter what." Zhang Xiaobao did a simple calculation of the cost of firing ceramics. He felt that as long as it was not a famous type of ceramics, the costs could be easily supported. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao's words, she felt that his support for her was not small. She was also happy. She thought for a while and said, "But we can't always use ceramics. When testing the pressure, we can use some of the original materials here to gain additional benefits." "Well, I will listen to you. Just be careful and don't get into trouble." Zhang Xiaobao entered a field that he was not clear about. He could only trust Wang Wan. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Chapter 122. In order to make more advanced things, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan asked someone to draw some blueprints the next morning and ordered them to order pottery. When the servant left, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had to study how to increase the temperature. One was to provide air. Neither of them knew how to build a blast furnace. According to the literal meaning, they asked someone to build a big furnace, especially a small building that was more than 2 stories high. The upper part of the building was easy to store some raw materials, while the lower part and the surrounding area were empty. It was specially for putting fuel. There was no coal, so they could only use charcoal. At the same time, in order to increase the temperature, they also sprinkled some cooking oil inside. This was the only way they could think of. Using this method, the refining might fail or succeed, but the biggest possibility was that it would explode. Therefore, this furnace was built in the most remote corner of Zhuangzi. "Xiaobao, do you think it will succeed? What if it can't withstand the pressure and explodes?" No matter how Wang Wan looked at the blast furnace, she felt that it was unstable. Other people's blast furnaces were made with heat-resistant materials. Their counterfeit version was really not safe. Zhang Xiaobao also did not think that it would succeed on the first try. This was not a scam. If it worked, it would work. If it didn't, it wouldn't. There was nothing to discuss, but he still had to do it. "I don't know either. I think the possibility of failure is the highest. It's nothing much. Any progress will end with failure. What I mean is to invite those who are good at making ceramics and let them work harder. Also, there's the blacksmith. It's just temperature and some things to add. Well, ask them to pay attention to safety. There is hope as long as people are alive. If things are gone, it's just a matter of material conversion. For us, it's just a matter of money." Wang Wan also felt the same. Even if they knew that it would fail, they still had to do it. The speed of making things was not slow. A few days later, some equipment was sent. Some were made of iron, and some were made of ceramics. For this, Zhang Xiaobao took out hundreds of bolts of silk, which was only a few dozen taels of silver. It was not much. The experiment also began after the arrival of these things. Accompanied by the sound of explosions, the purchased equipment broke down one after another. For 2 days, other than knowing that no one was injured, there was no other good news. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would take some time to come over every day to take a look. They were afraid that someone would be hurt. It was fine if the equipment exploded. It was just money, but people were very precious to them. As the sound rang out again and again, everyone became numb. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were hoping that one of them would succeed, while the others were doing it mechanically. This was not in line with the nature of scientific research, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had no other choice. They were all here to work, and they couldn't possibly expect them to be scientists. When another explosion sounded, the blast furnace also blew up. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan asked everyone not to go over first. After an hour, they came closer to watch. "Little master, all the things are broken, and only this one is left. It's still fine. Can this be used?" A man on Zhuangzi picked up something from the ruins and carried it to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan looked at it and found that it was suitable for an iron furnace. It was sealed well and did not explode. They called a blacksmith and asked, "Why is this still intact?" The blacksmith was more experienced. After checking it, he replied, "The wall of this is a bit thick. It should be made by an apprentice. It was not done well at all. When the apprentice made the seal, his craftsmanship was also a bit poor. He used lead as the seal, instead of directly using the iron method to seal like some good blacksmiths. Oh, so that's how it is. He used lead as the seal and made the wall thick. Good. Now that the welding can't be done, we can only continue to build the blast furnace. But this thing is very useful. Find the apprentice and let's see. At this time, Steward Zhang heard the little master's whisper and said to the blacksmith. He did not know why the little master wanted such a useless apprentice. His words frightened the blacksmith. He begged, Steward Zhang, he's just an apprentice. He's not bad at all. He's also very filial. Please be magnanimous and let him go. The blacksmith thought that Steward Zhang was going to make trouble for the child. Even if the apprentice was not Zhangjia Zhuangzi, it was still very easy for such a big Zhuangzi to deal with an ordinary person. For a moment, Steward Zhang did not know what to say. He looked at the little master standing next to him. Zhang Xiaobao felt that Steward Zhang was not coordinated with him, and could not understand his intention. Wei Wei shook her head and waved her hand. When Steward Zhang saw the little master's two movements, he immediately thought about it. What did it mean? Normally, it meant to refuse. Of course, the little master and little madam refused. But in the past, the little master and little madam would not do this to others. The two little ancestors never did things that were ruthless. They were good to the people in the yard. They were good to the point that they left oil lamps for the people who kept watch at night, and provided at least 4 meals for the people who worked hard. They were also good to the villagers. The gifts given during the holidays were all paid for by the little master and little madam. They were not bad to outsiders either. Steward Zhang took a piece of paper from the side and drew something on it. He gave it to the apprentice for him to see. The apprentice could understand this, but after seeing it, he didn't know what it was for. He looked up at Steward Zhang in confusion. What's wrong? You can't make it? Steward Zhang asked. Yes, this thing is very simple. I can make it in 2 days. But I don't know what this thing is for. The apprentice quickly agreed. After seeing the drawing, he found that it was very simple, especially when he didn't consider how to make the walls thinner. And that's good. This is your wage. Manager Zhang took out 2 big strings of copper coins from the side and put them on the table, making a clattering sound. The apprentice was scared and quickly stood up. He didn't dare to look at the money. It turned out to be 2 strings of copper coins. If it was a normal exchange, it could be exchanged for 2 taels of silver. In terms of spending, it could be 2.5 taels of silver. How could it be so much money to make such a thing? What's wrong? You think it's too little? I'll give you this small amount of silver. Steward Zhang threw a silver bean that was about 5 copper coins on the table. The silver bean fell on the table and kept spinning, making a slight sound. The apprentice couldn't help but look at the silver bean. He clearly knew that this amount of silver wasn't as much as the 2 strings of copper coins. But he still liked the feeling of holding the silver in his hand. Enough. It's not enough, it's too much. Take some of this back. I don't need so much. That amount of silver is already a lot. The apprentice waited for the silver bean to stop spinning, and said with a little panic. Steward Zhang nodded with satisfaction. It's enough. Take all of it. Remember to make that thing well. And no matter who asks, you can't tell others how to make it. Except for Zhangjia Zhuangzi, you can't make the same thing for anyone else in your life. You can't do it yourself. Do you understand? Yes. Steward Zhang, don't worry. I'll forget about it once it's done. The apprentice immediately understood that the money also included a seal. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.